everybody. Good evening and welcome to the final evening show of the week. It's the Steel Toe Evening Show. I'm Aaron. That's April.
Hey.
The title tonight, very fitting. Maybe I should have put a question mark at the end of it. I'm not really sure, but it's Rest in Peace, Alex Jones.
Because he's over.
I think there might have been less of a ruling today and more of a message being sent.
That's not what I heard.
I think this is kind of a... This isn't really... what do you mean it's not what you heard?
I didn't hear any details.
Oh, of course you wouldn't hear that. That's a theory. That's not breaking news or anything. This is, I mean, at nearly $1 billion is not... That's not, oh, you know, this guy screwed up and he needs to be punished. This is... We're going to make an example out of this guy. And we're going to do our best to get rid of it. I mean, the ruling seems a little personal.
Well, yeah.
For what it was. I mean, think about it.
He said a bad thing.
CNN settled a lawsuit with that Sandman kid when they did all their shit, you know, lying about him and getting stuff wrong. And they settled out of court for like millions of dollars. I don't even think it got to the tens of millions of dollars. Maybe it did, but it certainly wasn't 9 figures. Alex Jones does this, and it's not on anything near as big as CNN or, you know, NBC News or ABC News or anything like that. And it's almost $1 billion.
So basically, fuck you guys. Don't ever do this again, or this is you.
I think it's more just fuck Alex Jones. I don't even know I don't think it's a message to anybody else. I think it's just Alex Jones. I think this is the final nail in the coffin. They all the social media groups got together and they banned him all in a 24-hour period. And then a few years later, he didn't go away. He stayed relatively relevant, kind of popular, people still watching him. And then this happened. And look, I'm not saying Alex didn't give him the rope to hang him. He did.
Plenty of rope. But
this was, I mean, they hung him very, very high. I mean, when a simple oak tree would have done, they found a redwood and they went, no. We'll show this fucking guy. So I don't know what you do. I feel like being sued for or having an what do you call it? A judgment against you for $965 million is the same as having a judgment against you for $1 in many ways.
Right, because how are you ever going to handle that?
He ain't ever going to pay $965 million back. I mean, I you know.
He's going to have to sell a lot of Alpha Brain for that.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of bone broth being sold and a lot of survival kits and everything else. Jay Santos says, let this be a lesson, Steel Toe. Stay away from the unspeakables. Was that it? That's not the message I got. It was, you know, don't be Alex Jones was the message I got from the whole thing.
It is a bit ridiculous.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And again, it's a weird deal because he's guilty of what they're saying he's guilty of. Mm-hmm. Like, he did say that the shooting didn't happen and that those parents were crisis actors and that their kids weren't dead and all this other stuff. And then his fans did, like, dox them and go after them and everything else. And somebody tweeted me today and they said, oh, man, Aaron, and to think all of this could have been avoided with the word allegedly.
Yes, allegedly, like, or in my opinion, this didn't happen.
You know, or I've seen false flag operations before, and this is unfolding a lot like a false flag operation. And also not singling out individual people and saying that they're agent actors or crisis actors. I mean, I've been in some form of broadcasting now for 16 years. In December, I think it'll be. I'm coming up on 16 years. And that's day one shit. It really is. I mean, that's day one stuff to just go, hey, first of all, nothing about private citizens.
Okay.
Just watch that shit. Number 2, allegedly, in my opinion, this looks like things like that. Even that lawsuit that we talked about with Old Capitol Tavern, you notice in that, it's like from evidence or from argument or whatever, like they're still using that very just read a lawsuit. That's the language you need to use.
That's because nothing's been decided yet.
Right. So I will see about the whole Alex Jones thing. We have some news stuff to play for you tonight. We got some stuff from the Alex Jones thing. We'll do it tomorrow morning as well. Fuck you, dude, with $2 says, good evening, April. You look very nice. Hi.
Ooh, thank you.
Hi, Aaron.
Thank
What does
you.
that mean? What does it mean to say April looks very nice and then I simply get a hi? I feel like there's a subtle message.
I wore a nice shirt today.
Well,
Not that yours isn't very nice. I created that one.
I guess mine isn't as nice as yours. That's fine. That's fine. Josh Denny says, my employee was able to turn in his work today because he was really distraught from the attack brought on him by the audience. Can we talk about that for just a second today? Do you think those of you who don't like Corey Adam on this show could find it in your hearts to not openly shit on the... You know what? I'm not even going to say don't openly shit on the guy ever. Free speech, all that, whatever. But as a favor to me, because I know you don't like him. All right, great, you've made your point. As a favor to me, could you not dogpile and butt fuck him and ass rape him and do all of this shit while he's on the show with me? Could you please do that? Because I'll tell you something Corey does that the other second mics don't do. He fucking reads the chat. And my advice to him has always been, for years I've told him, don't read the chat. I've snapped on the show. I go, hey, get your head out of the chat. Don't worry about it. Let's do a show. I mean, you sit here with me, so you know that our eyes are off the chat most of the time because when we're doing segments, we have that up and we're doing that thing. And we don't see the chat because it's the chat's job to talk about the show.
Right. That's their chat room together.
They're having their fun. They're doing all that stuff.
They can hate each other right there.
Right. They can do all of that. Yeah, that's great. And we'll do a show and we'll entertain them. We'll do our job, which is entertaining them, and they'll do their job, which is talking about the show. Sounds like fun to me. But, you know, Corey reads the chat. Yet too much, yes. But I can tell as a host when he's not paying attention, when he's not focusing on the things I'm talking about, because you guys are sitting there bashing the shit out of him, or the Josh Denny account is bothering him, or Max or Citizen M, or, you know, or other people are bugging the fuck out of him. He's reading it. It gets in his head. It bugs him. It distracts him. And then all of a sudden, I'm doing a show by myself. So if you could, please, if we're not doing as well on the goal that day, if you don't feel like the show's as good as it is most days, as a favor to me, could you maybe dial it back a little bit? Just, is it possible? And I'm not doing this to protect Corey. He didn't say anything else. I'm saying me. I'm saying when I'm doing the show and he's distracted, I'm basically doing a show by myself. I'll do that thing where I pause to let the second mic jump in. I'll get nothing because he's busy, reading the shitting on him that a couple of you are doing. So please, as a favor to me, could you not? They were really aggressive with him today. They were so aggressive and they were so shitting on him so hard that I had to stop the show to allow them to do it so he could respond, so I could actually have some material for my show. Because it was getting to a point where, first of all, when he starts banning like the Josh Denny account in the chat, I know I don't have his attention.
No.
None of the second mics should be banning anybody in the chat. I have mods for that. I will ban people in the chat. Don't worry about it. So when I see that, I'm like, all right, we better read these hate posts. We better let him address them. And while that's not where I want to be today for my show, we got to allow that to, almost like bleeding people back in the medieval days. I have to bleed the audience so we can relieve the swelling.
You're lancing them. Like
removing a part of your skull to allow the brain swelling to free the brain up, to expand. I have to take out the skull. I will say this. I resented one thing he said when he was in his fit of rage. The evening shows have, he said it like it was a bad thing. He said, evening shows have turned into reaction shows. They have not. We do the first half of the show, usually the first hour and a half, is the stories I have. In fact, some shows are just fully the stories we've collected. But April and I really enjoy making fun of certain personalities. We found certain personalities that the two of us, much like Johnny and I and Oz and I, like all of us have certain personalities that we enjoy watching together and making fun of, and the audience enjoys it as well. Mm-hmm. In fact, the stuff that gets the most views on this channel is the stuff where we're doing that. You don't take the thing you do best and just stop and not do it because someone goes, well, it's just reaction content. What do you mean just reaction content? First of all, if you're talking about the news, that's also reaction content.
I was going to say everything you did for bits when you guys were on the radio was reaction.
I think to say that, Steel Toes does a lot more reaction stuff now is to not understand what this show's ever been. This show has always been what I wanted to do. And I've always wanted to make fun of other stations, make fun of other shows, do all that. So I don't think that's really changed much. And you know what's ironic about that? You know, he said, the evening show, it's kind of become just a reaction show. I don't need to defend the evening show. The numbers are climbing up. We're knocking out everything. It's great. But, like, the funniest thing, so it's basically a reaction show. And then the funniest thing we did on the morning show today was introducing Corey to the Tony Michaels drive-in video.
Yep.
So the funniest thing we do is what you would call a reaction thing. We do it really well. It's almost like saying, can't watch that guy play baseball. All he does is hit home runs. It's so boring.
Check this out. The show that he used to do on Tuesday nights on our channel was a reaction show to our show.
Yeah. So
I don't know. So I really hope that wasn't a slight because, like you said, it's what you enjoy and you prepped for us.
And it's not just a reaction. That kind of I
don't know. Like,
what are you going to do?
I don't know. The job of the second mic is just supposed to be here to support and go back and forth with the stuff you've brought to us.
Right. And that's why I want you guys to just lay off Corey, because I feel like he reads your shit, he gets upset, and then he ends up lashing out a bit. And there ends up being some friendly fire when that happens. All right, let's talk to the audience a little bit, then let's catch up with things tonight. What are we at? 280, because we were over a little bit last night. We did free overtime, and then the audience just jumped in with a bunch of PayPals at the end of the show anyway to not only knock out the goal, but go over by 10. Then our buddy Dave bought another shirt today, so we knock out a couple more bucks. 280 away from tonight's goal. It is the final evening show of the week. So if we knock out this goal, that means goal accomplished for this week. So thank you guys a ton. Before we get into the chat, let's go to one of the biggest Corey haters that we have. You know what? April's Parents Hobby Farm, why don't you call back? Guess what Aaron forgot to do this morning or this evening?
Oh, no.
I forgot to hook the damn phone up to the... There we go. Now it's connected the Roadcaster. All right, April's Parents Hobby Farm, fire away and call back in. We'll be ready for you. April looks fantastic tonight, says Joe Berger. Sup, Aaron. That's very sweet of you. Hi, Maine says, what's the problem with Corey? He's fine. Right. Most of the people feel that way. But again, I wish he wouldn't read the chat. But I'm not in Austin, Texas when the show's on. So as a favor to me, if you could keep that stuff out of there, it would be nice because it does fuck up the show a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help anything.
D. Gulag says Corey was hilarious this morning. Josh Denny says, yes, but remember, he's been on the show longer than April. Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like he just says weird stuff when he gets going against people, and then it kind of comes up. I don't think he means it.
Ironically, all I said before he said that was people just do this for sport. Like somebody had sent in a super chat this morning completely shitting on me about my excitement on Monday.
Right.
And I can sit there and read it and be like, oh, that's just a dickhead, whatever. I'm not going to acknowledge him.
Parents Hobby Farm.
All right, April's Parents Hobby Farm, what's up?
Hey, Corey, you motherfucker. Stop stealing Steel Toes trademark.
No, that's not what this is about.
And you're taking the fucking ratings, Corey. You're taking the fucking ratings.
Now, see,
are you happy with yourself?
Now, look, when you do that, he sees it, and it takes him out of the show for a while. So as a favor to me, do you think that maybe you could... Now, I know asking you to back off of anything, I'm just fucking myself in the ass right now.
A little bit.
But... No?
I don't know what you're talking about, but... Hey, Corey, stop stealing Steel Toes trademark!
He can't help himself.
I wish I didn't like him so much.
I know. He's pretty likable.
He's such a good guy. Black Ornament says, can't help you, man. Corey blows. Look, I didn't say you can't dislike him.
You can have your opinions, but stop putting it in the chat.
Everybody has their least favorite. All I'm asking is, when he's on, as a favor to me, could you just maybe not, just feel free not to shout it directly at him? That would be nice. Fuck you, dude says, I like the Corey days. I like all the days. They all bring something different, and each day has a different vibe. Right. And I'm sure Fuck you, dude has somebody he likes least of all of them. But
he's being polite and not saying it.
Atomic Citizen says, Corey needs more time on the D-How. I don't know what that means. I think he means show, but I'm not sure. But I like the D-How. Jay Santos says he had a great take on January 6th this morning. Yeah, he fucking had it with January 6th. I'll say that. I like all the second mics, says Bone Apple Tea from me. Jesse Kling says, I like Corey a lot, better than Oz. Wish we had April every day, though. So that guy's all over the place.
Interesting.
With his takes. Don't shit on anyone pointlessly, says Andrew. Wubba Lubba says, give Corey a year. Rupert says, I love Corey. Some people are just weird autists and assholes. Jack Floyd, I don't like him, so I won't be watching Wednesday mornings. And you know what? And that's fine, too. Everybody has their favorites. And I'm sure there's some of you who are tuned in now who won't tune in certain days. That's okay. That's all right. Sandy Squatch says, the show wouldn't be as exciting without the random second mics. They are all wonderful. That's such a girl thing to say.
I will say, doesn't everybody tune in just for you at minimum?
I would hope so.
You would think they'd just want to come in to see what you've got to say.
But now I've told people who love me to do me a favor, and they're going to purposely do the opposite because they're like, oh, Aaron, hey, I got you. Oh, yeah. Right, don't do it. I know what you mean, buddy. Why couldn't I wink there? I don't know. Strokey.
I actually can't wink either.
D. Gulag says, I've seen Corey twice so far. Both times he was great. Very nice. You're asking a lot from us. Mr. Nobody says, gang up on Johnny. Got it.
That is what he said.
Jesus, folks, just act like you like the show, says Ryobi. Need Trump says, we love Corey. It is who he is. Very sad. Why is that sad? It's not helping either. Even More says, I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate the guy as a person and have no desire to hurt him or disrespect you and the show. Unnecessary. It's still steel toe and enjoyable as a fan and viewer. It's just that out of all the second mics, everybody has their thing. His thing is, like, the criticism gets to him. He doesn't like when people shit on him. And instead of, like, yelling at them or doing anything like that, because that's my thing, too. Like, if he yells at them, I go, hey, man, don't look at the chat. Let's do a show. Hey, over here. But then if he doesn't yell at them, he also internalizes it, and it kind of distracts him. So, yeah.
You just know he's living there.
All right. Did April prep tonight's show, says Happy Gilfmore. You're not going to live that down.
That is that guy. I don't know. I prepped one show my whole life, and I don't get to be excited about it for one day. I had maybe 4 times on that whole 4.5 hours I said I was excited that it went well.
You were very proud of it, and Happy Gilfmore happens to think that you were too proud of it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what it was.
You know what? Happy Gilfmore, I'll never prep another show in my life. I promise.
What if I get really, really drunk?
I won't prep one.
Oh, man, that's that. See, now
you're going to have to get on the air and just fucking wing it.
Oh, no. Well, that could be interesting.
Lest I say I'm really happy that we had a show that morning.
Yeah. Even More says, I love reaction content. It's how I found you guys in the first place. Yeah, it's a good business move, too.
Yes.
Fire Corey and give Johnny his day. Thank you, Max. That's wonderful. Josh Denny says the reaction stuff is with keeping the charity case around on Wednesdays. He already lost Thursday. The reactions are what is picking up his, stuff like that. Not helping. Jesse Kling says, yeah, that pissed me off when he said that. Well, yeah, I think he was just mad at you guys, though. I'm sorry to put it that way, but I think he was just mad at you guys.
I don't know. When people get mad, a whole bunch of shit just starts coming out.
That's the problem.
You never know if they mean it or not.
Thank you very much to Eccentric Sea Wizard for renewing their membership for a 6th month. Appreciate that. I love when Corey's on, says Yul Gibbons. Everyone on the show has their own unique sense of humor. Plus, he's the best second mic for sports, politics, and comedy talk, but my name comes from Mark fucking Allen, so... Oh. Corey is the Mitch of the Steel.
Okay, that's funny.
I have photographic proof of Corey working at the Holocaust. Curly Adams says, if you don't like a second mic, either keep it to yourself or don't watch. It's not even that. It's like, just, you know what I say? Forget I said anything. Forget I said anything. Just do whatever the fuck you want.
Well, I agree to it like a degree. Like, guys don't have to sit in the chat and like totally bombard the show and like derail the whole thing. You can have some opinions, but
this would be my message for what happened this morning. Corey, don't look at the chat. You've proven many times it's just going to bother you. You're just going to get in fights with these people, and who needs it? It's a fun show.
I don't look at the chat a whole lot, but I just kind of look away if something bothers me.
I'll be in charge of the chat. It's fine. And then to the rest of you, could we not try to work him? Could we not try to poke the bear? See, I think I'd have a lot more success asking Corey to not read the chat than I would asking our audience to not poke the bear. Right. Right.
Never ask the chat for help.
J Dead says Corey was in the Manson family. See, now that's innocent. I think that's pretty harmless. Loaded Wrench says, one thing I like about Corey is the grease. Citizen M says, a lot of men, especially comedians, can be cool and reasonable with constructive criticism. Corey is not that guy, so let's all cool off a little on critiquing him. Now, Citizen M, in fairness, I don't know how much of your criticism was constructive, but I understand what you're saying. Thank you, Trapper, for the $2 super sticker. Appreciate that. Ghislaine says, April has grown on me. I really like her now.
Thank you, Ghislaine.
I watch every day and hate all of you equally, says Declan.
See, that's fine.
Standalone Cakecorn says, good God, Aaron's just asking for a small favor, and yet some asswipes just insist on having to shoot their mouths off and make it about them. It wouldn't be so bad if I didn't laugh when they did that.
I know.
They are funny. That's my problem. I feel like I'm yelling at small children who aren't technically doing anything wrong.
I know. McMarshall just talked about how I get called Canyon Cunt 31 times a day, too. And I think that's
called her
funny.
Canyon Cunt.
You've had people call in to call me a cunt.
Yes.
And while you do go cry yourself to sleep a little bit, it is very funny.
I still, they're saying funny things. I think it's funny shit, but it also takes away from my show, so I'm conflicted.
Right. It really is like when toddlers are doing something totally wrong and you shouldn't be laughing, but you are. But it's taking away from the things you're trying to teach them.
Unirage says, I want more DSP reviews and will cry until you give them to me. We might make it to one tonight. I think if we get to overtime, I've got Opie, I've got Brendan, I've got DSP. And I think we'll be able to fit them all in. Jay Santos says, keep April and Johnny, lose the other two. See? Corey's not here, so fuck that guy, New Boot Goofin. I like Corey, but I didn't when he first came on. World's Worst Artist says, Corey be like, I can't take criticism. Well, whether he can or he can't. You know what? You're right, guys. Fuck it. Do whatever you want. I'll talk to Corey and just say, just stop reading the chat. It's going to get worse now.
See, to me, that's the right call.
Yeah.
You probably should just talk to the guy that's having the problem.
Triple N says, control your excitement, you cringe factory.
These guys are very much enjoying themselves. They don't see a problem.
And I don't want to stop them. I want people to come in here and have fun, you know? That's all I want. I only want people to come in here and have fun and enjoy themselves. Mr. Nobody with a $5 super chat says, looking good tonight, Aaron. Nice comb over, April. I think he might have.
Wait, who said that?
That was Mr. Nobody. I appreciate that, buddy, although I think
thanks.
you purposely fucked up.
Do you know I looked at a hair supplement today because I'm worried that I'm now losing hair?
Did you really?
Yeah.
You looked at a hair supplement for real?
I get nervous now because every time you comb your hair and shit and you lose a few and it kind of makes you nervous.
Can I give you some advice?
What?
Don't ever tell them that again.
No, it's just as a woman, you definitely don't want to go bald. You can go bald. I can't.
Do not tell them that.
You know what? I lied.
You looked up hair supplement. I mean, there's no way I can't.
Calm down. I didn't do it.
I can't take that back for you now.
I can. It was a total lie.
That is just something you said right now.
Hook me up to the lie detector test. I'll pass it.
J Dead says, I'm saving all my donations for the future Wings of Redemption content. He really wants us to talk about Wings of Redemption. We have in the past, and I'll tell you. I'm sorry, I'm drinking a beer. The thing about Wings of Redemption is we've watched him, and I think we both agreed he's just too sad.
Oh, yeah. That really big guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I get really bummed out. Like, I was going to bring you guys this video that went viral from Boogie2988, where he was talking about how he's going broke and he needs your help. And I'm like, oh, this could be good for the show. And I just kept watching it, and I'm like, no, I'm just feeling bad.
So did Wings ever get his channel back? Because last time we checked in, he was kind of banned off everything.
Yeah, you know what, Jay Dead? Let us know what you know about that. Fuck you, dude says, I was driving through Little Falls today and saw a billboard for a new rock station. They were advertising the Free Beer and Hot Wings show. I tuned in and it was just terrible. Oh, God, that is a bad show.
Yay.
Jay Dead says, I'm sorry, I just finished that one. Jesse Kling says, I found you guys from the Sven reaction video. Yeah, and either Sven or Mike David put a privacy claim on that, and it's gone. The video's still up, so we must have won that one.
I think the work we put up there was legit.
Cranny says, I like Corey a lot, but he absolutely looks like a gunsmith from Red Dead Redemption. In the comments, wants us to do Tony Michaels. Look, man, I can't do Tony every night, every day. We're going to burn out of Tony. We just put a new Chad Zumach video up from last night. That one's doing remarkably well. I love covering Tony. I love covering Chad Zumach. I like covering them more than Stuttering John. And since like Shuli and the Uncle Rico show are doing like 3 shows a day and all they talk about is Stuttering John, I don't mean to criticize fellow Stuttering John community people, but I'm starting to realize who's doing it for the love of the game and who's doing it for a quick buck.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to notice that Shuli, I don't want to say this, I like Shuli.
Well, then don't. It's okay.
But I also want to be honest. I like Shuli, but it's very...
I might like it.
It's starting to lean towards money grab. I guess I shouldn't begrudge someone that. That's fine. I still like the guy. But I watch so many of these smaller channels. I watch a guy like Cardiff Electric who makes a fucking Stuttering John puppet in his free time just to make YouTube videos about him at 20 minutes a pop. And I'm just like, okay, that's a guy who's doing this because he loves it. And whether, John being a popular thing to shit on right now doesn't matter. And then I look at what we're doing and I go, we've basically for a week now said, fuck John, it's Tony and Chad. Like, these are the guys we want to focus on. We find them to be more interesting. Mm-hmm. I even christened Chad Zumach John 2.0. I think he's the new John. So, 3 shows and all you do is that. That's a little excessive.
That seems heavy. I'm not even sure how John gives you quite that much.
Yeah, what I like about our show and what I like about Carl is they'll do their content. Like, this is our show, here's our show. And then, like, as a dessert after they eat their meal, they'll be like, now let's see what John's up to, I do
like that. The Tony Michaels guy, I couldn't do him every day. There's no way. He is unbearable to me.
I Sneeze says, Corey keeps sending me dick pics. None of them are his, I think.
Are they good, though?
The Recluse says, April is my favorite only by default because she's on whenever I catch the show.
Oh, well,
White At says, I love this show, even the old dude, the crippled kid, and Corey, but April is my favorite second. So Oz is the old dude, Johnny's the crippled kid, and then Corey's just Corey. Boy. Hey, I love a good Con Air reference. Kane B says, it can't be all Mai Tais and Yahtzees, unfortunately. Let's do it. D. Gulag says, the only thing I don't like about Corey is that he looks like a bit like Vito. I hate Vito. Land like Corey. Land like Corey.
Land like Corey.
Phage Live says, or just have the monitor turned off when he's with you co-hosting. Well,
he's not here.
He's on Zoom. So he's got the live chat up.
You could turn everything off, disable it. He can pull it up on his phone. Like, we're not in control of that.
Josh Denny said it would be easier to tolerate Corey if he wasn't on the screen. All right. So I should just tell Corey to ignore the comments.
You have to.
That's what I'm going to have to do.
This is never going to stop. They're clearly having fun.
Oh, in the comments says, so do they ignore YouTube chats?
Do you ever think that sometimes they just keep going on this, not because they don't like him, just because they get the reaction?
By the way, in the comments, we're just way behind right now. We try to catch up with the chat before we start everything. See, this is where you fucked up. Now look at which somebody changed their name to. April's hair supplement has entered the chat and writes, April has crippled hair follicles.
Thank you. I needed you here. I need you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Electric
That's
Shoes.
That's where my life's at.
Zach was my favorite second mic. His appearances were so spontaneous, but I never got the bit. Ghislaine says, can we do a reaction on Corey tonight? No. No. Declan says you can see him reading chat for minutes at a time. Right, that's what I mean. So
that is the worst part sometimes is with any of if the other second mics.
You got it. That's the correct word.
The second mites.
The second mites.
No,
that's how I see it.
Let's say if I'm working or I'm at the gym or something, I'm not watching my screen so I can't see what they're doing, but you'll tell that you're the only one talking for a while. That's always really uncomfortable. Because it's like, did they fall asleep? Are they reading something? I don't know where they went.
Yeah.
And I'm not singling him out either. It's happened to everyone.
All right, guys, now we can start the show. Thank you very much for all of your input. I appreciate the input. Just top-notch work, you guys. Wonderful. 270 away from tonight's goal. Again, it's the final evening show of the week. So let's knock that out. Let's do overtime. I have to stop the show to read April's hair supplement. It's my new favorite name in the chat. It doesn't help that his glasses are the size of a monitor. He can't help but to read what's in front of him. Oh, so I thought that was going to be...
It is kind of funny if you do watch him sometimes. If he hasn't talked for a little bit, you can see the reflection in his glasses of what he's doing.
Oh, can you really? Like you could see the chat in his glasses?
Very occasional. I actually find it kind of funny. So.
Oh, man. Now I'm going to be doing that.
What?
I'm going to be looking over here now.
No, because we need you for the show. Don't look at Corey. He needs to stop looking at chat. You can't look at Corey either.
All right. Let's talk about Alex Jones, shall we?
I love Alex.
That's how I wanted to start the show, was with a little bit of the talk from this morning, clear some of that stuff up. What I've gathered is I couldn't yell at you guys because I don't technically see anything wrong with what you're doing. You've always been allowed to criticize us. You've always been allowed to say whatever you want about us, so that's fair. I'm just going to have to tell Corey, look, for the good of the show, to help me, just hit that X button on the chat.
That's true.
How about that? When things are getting tough, just click off. Now, the button I need you guys to hit is the like button.
Hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and click the bell to get notifications.
Oh, good. Here, Corey's on the phone now. All right. Corey, hello.
So like a half hour of digging into me and letting these cowards talk behind my back, that's what we're doing now?
What I tried to tell them was this morning, could you guys just lay off a little bit? Because it does take away from the show.
I legit don't care if they lay off.
I know you don't. I know you don't care.
Right,
but then
why are you presenting it like I care? I don't.
I already said that I think you tuned in a little late because I said I'm not doing this.
That could be. I mean, I was on my way to a mic, and that could be. But it's like you're sitting here like, oh, it really it doesn't get to me. I don't care.
No, Corey didn't ask me to do this or anything. I said, just as the host, it does get distracting when you guys start getting into the shitting and the bitching and the yelling at each other.
The only one that I will go out of my way to block every time is the person impersonating Josh Dent. That's all.
I know, but like, as weird as it is, like we all kind of get shit on, and so I can't make an exception. You know what I mean?
I never said you have to make an exception. Every time I block him, you unblock him, and I've never said one word about it, have I?
Yeah, so like, why don't we just not block him and just not talk about it? You know?
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
All right. Well, can we move on and do a little show now?
Can we move on? Because seriously, you're a half hour in, and you guys are still talking shit about me, and not even just you, but like the chat. Like I tune in, and it's like everybody going, this is what I was talking about this morning, where I'm saying like people are just like pussies and they don't say it to your face type shit, right?
Because no, that's not their fault. I started the show by saying, look, guys, as the host of the show, could you guys maybe ease up on Corey a little bit in the morning? Because it does become a distraction to the show. And I said, he didn't tell me to say anything. This is me coming to you as the host of the show. This isn't about him. This is about me and something that could help me during the show.
Okay. Well, I must have missed that part.
Yeah, it affects me. So I did want to talk about it.
And also, like, just so you know, when I said the evening shows are reaction shows, that wasn't a slight at all. What I'm saying is that most of the reality interaction that you do through YouTube, which is growing us, and I think it's great, that most of that seems to happen on the evening. That's all I was saying. That was not a slight to the evening show at all.
Well, we do quite a bit of it with Oz and Johnny as well. I feel
like if you go back and look at like the Schaub videos or the DSP videos, most of the ones that make it to the best of clips that are on the channel rotating around are you and April and Eve. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, I think the DSP has always kind of been Johnny's thing too. I think he kind of brought DSP to the show, so that's always kind of been his guys. But yeah, so.
Well, when you look at the best of clips online and what represents like the reaction stuff, most of it is the evening show.
Yeah, I just think
Like,
I think April's more into it like I am more than maybe anyone else.
Is that a weird way of saying funnier than Johnny? That's weird.
See, now Johnny's going to call in.
Nah, Johnny's fine.
All right. So, yes, nobody was saying that you asked me to say that. In fact, I said the exact opposite. I was saying it's a distraction to me. It takes away from the show I'm doing, and I would appreciate it if we could dial it back a little bit.
That's the way that you get them to dial it forward, though. Do you not know?
Yes, I know. That's why I said right at the end of it, I went, oh, Christ, this isn't going to work. I go, maybe I just have Corey hit the X on the chat window when they're starting to get a little uppity.
Word. All right, well, have a good show. I got to go. I'm running into comedy.
All right, I got to go do some reaction content.
Yeah, bye.
All right, bye. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Can anybody listen to the words that come out of my fucking mouth?
You all make this a very awkward place to sit.
Oh, my God.
Anyone who contributed to that.
Here's what we're going to do from now on. Nobody says anything to Aaron about what Aaron says until they listen to everything Aaron says. How's that? And if Aaron wants to go off for a half hour about a topic, I'll go off for 2 fucking hours. How about that?
I come here to have fun.
So do I.
Can I just bring you a brownie and you can sit and scream for a couple hours?
No, I'm having a great time. Are you kidding? Sitting here in a fucking madhouse.
I very much don't like being in a position where somebody on the show is getting shit on or somebody's upset. It's really uncomfortable.
That's my thing. Like, and then he calls and yells at me, like, you're doing this for a half hour. Yeah, I don't like
Well, it is about him. I do understand.
I know,
that.
but I'm sitting, he's yelling at me and I'm going, I don't like it when people shit on you. That's what I'm trying to say here. I don't like it when you get shit on. It takes away from the show and it, the whole deal. That's all. All right, let's continue on now and get into the Alex Jones stuff. Where are we at? 270. Let's knock it under 200 by the time we hit 8 o'clock tonight. So in the next 25 minutes, let's see if we can knock it out under $200. There's Curly Adam with 10 says that was nice of you to protect Corey's feels. New boot coop. That is not. See, I'm not.
Guys.
That is not what happened. But thank you for the super chat. All right.
Somehow that phone call extended the topic too. It's just
right. But we all do that.
This could all just go away if everyone just quit.
But I say, guys, don't do that. And then I go, oh shit, that's just going to make him do it more. Corey calls in to complain that it's been a half hour. It's like, well, that's going to extend it another 15 minutes if you do that.
You basically just told all these dogs not to look at that squirrel running through the yard.
That's what I do.
What is wrong with you?
What I've done for years. All right, let's talk about the Alex Jones situation. This is really bad for Captain InfoWars.
I want to see his face when they tell him.
I thought that the Texas one would be the worst of it. Because what was the Texas one? It was like $50 million.
Yeah.
And people were like, holy shit,
that was a lot.
$50 million. How's he ever going to pay that? And we were told, well, actually, with the way the laws are in Texas, it's never going to actually be $50 million. They've got limits on that stuff, so whatever. Well, let's see who's calling in now before we dig into
from Corey Adam.
Yes, sir. All right. God damn it. Okay, so Alex Jones had the $50 million one in Texas, and we went, oh, shit, he'll never be able to pay that back.
No, because he's not worth all that much, is he?
Yeah, like 10, 20, somewhere around there.
He's doing fine.
I mean, you got the company, and the company's probably got a little bit of money. But then I didn't realize this. Somebody tweeted today, and it was in a news article, that his production company is in bankruptcy.
Ooh. Oh.
So I don't even know how much
paying
money.
The bills?
Yeah, I don't even know how much money the company has. So let's play the verdict from the Alex Jones. So we had the $50 million in Texas. Now we've got the verdict in the Connecticut trial, which is where, Sandy Hook took place and all that. And before people start arguing about how, this is a violation of freedom of speech, and, I got a tweet today from Stut Joe Depot, who I really like, but he said this is a violation of his First, Fifth, and Eighth Amendment rights. Now, I don't know about the Fifth and Eighth. That could be true. I know what the Constitution, like the Bill of Rights is, but I'm not very good at the law of it.
Sure.
But I know First Amendment because I make a living in the First Amendment. And the First Amendment does not protect you from what Alex Jones did, which was going on a broadcast and making a direct statement about somebody.
Yep.
And if that statement is not true, if it proves to be defamatory, that person can seek damages. It was a defamatory statement. The person proved it was not true. Their child was indeed dead.
These people got harassed even.
Yeah, they were not a crisis actor, so on and so forth. Now, what we have to kind of figure out from there is that really worth $1 billion fucking dollars? Let's hit play.
Case, we award damages to each plaintiff and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems LLC as follows. Roman numeral 1, compensatory damages, instructions, fill in both numbers for each plaintiff, then go to section 2. Please enter your damages assessments for each plaintiff on the lines below. To plaintiff Robbie Parker, A, defamation/slander damages past and future, $60 million.
Fuck, dude, that's one plaintiff.
You know what would be you know what would be really terrible and funny though? Is if the dad of the dead kid, as soon as they read the $60 million, he goes, fuck yeah!
Worth it!
We're rich, motherfucker! Yes, I'm buying a house, I'm buying it. He looks at his wife, he goes, I'm fucking leaving, we'll split it even. We were just staying together for the dead kid. Woo!
Somebody does one of these,
Yeah.
That doesn't bring your kid back, though. Don't you, aren't you sad about the kid?
My dead kid made me $60 million. Woo! How much money has your kid made you alive?
Best kid ever.
My kid is worth more dead than yours is alive.
Oh, no.
How do you like that, pal?
Wow.
Could you imagine?
$60 million, though. That does help the hurt, I
What
think.
a fucking feat. Well, because you're going to... I mean, here's my
The
thing.
kid's already dead.
Here's my thing about the $60 million. A, yes, the kid's already dead.
Can't bring it back.
And B, you're going to be sad and depressed anyway.
You can afford the
Why
things
not
ease that?
I would
for you.
much rather be sad and depressed and miserable and have $60 million.
Oh, yeah.
Let
me be rich if I'm miserable.
Yeah.
B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $60 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Robert Parker and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems at line A and line B, total $120 million.
Jesus
Initialed by juror number 1. To plaintiff David Wheeler, A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $25 million.
Oh, wait, so my dead kid is worth less than that guy's dead kid?
I didn't want to be the only one. I'd feel kind of insulted if somebody's getting multiples of what I'm getting.
Wouldn't it be terrible if that guy's kid had Down syndrome or something? Then they only gave him $25 million. They're like, well, we just thought that your kid has less potential than the other kid, so we just gave you $25 million.
Am I stupid for thinking
Yes.
they should all have to split the almost $1 billion evenly? Unless you've got maybe multiple kids that time.
You know where probably the biggest single chunk of that billion is going to? Lawyers.
Lawyers, yeah.
It's going to the lawyers.
Okay.
The lawyers are the ones who are going, well, excuse me, I'm very glad you got that judgment for your son. I need to step outside for a moment, could you? And then as the door closed, you just hear a muffled, woo! Fuck yeah, baby! Who's got the biggest dick in the law?
Now, do these people all have their own separate lawyers, or is one lawyer representing them as a whole?
I don't know. It could be either one.
Because that guy is having a good payday then.
You're really hoping you can talk all of them into being represented by you. I feel like the size of a case like this, though, it would have to be multiple. I think.
But it's all the same case, though.
You might be right.
B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff David Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems at line A and line B, $55 million, initialed by...
I love it if that guy stood up and go, why the fuck did he get 120 and I got 55?
I know. Maybe that's one of the people whose house got damaged or something from people harassing.
Yeah, because there is one guy who had to move 3 times.
Okay, yeah. See, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Number 1. To plaintiff Francine Wheeler. A, defamation/slander.
Can I say one other thing? Not to shit on the people with dead kids.
Go on.
I mean, we are in court. Would it kill you to wear a suit?
I always wonder that too, but don't you kind of want to look like you're not made of money in this situation?
Why? You're going to be anyway.
No, that's not the point here. I think you do want to look a little sad and downtrodden and you know that you've been ran into the dirt. I don't think.
But like I said about the money, you're already going to be downtrodden and run into the dirt.
Oh, I know.
At least look good.
I think it's just playing the sympathy card a little bit. Look, I don't have anything.
Standard damages, past and future, $24 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Francine Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, add line A and line B. Total $54 million.
Notice they had the same last name, so they were divorced. So their 120 got split between the two of them.
Oh, that's fun, huh?
Okay.
Initialed by juror number 1. We, the jury, find that the standard charge for the assessment of attorney's fees and costs have been met. Yes, it's checked. Reasonable attorney's fees and costs to be awarded by the judge at a later date. Initialed by juror number 1. And the last page is the four-person juror number 1 signature in the date of 10/12/2022, also initialed by juror number 1.
The verdict may be accepted and recorded.
So I have a question. We'll get that in the next news story that we watch here. We heard it like 120 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to $1 billion?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I was just doing that math in my head, too, that it didn't seem like that was adding up yet.
Yeah. So the 120 million that
Maybe
we heard.
that is the chunks that are going to them and the rest is going to the lawyer. You know?
Jeez.
Think about that.
Nate says, imagine having to pay $1 billion. That is so fucking funny, right? That has to be an amount of money where like it doesn't even seem real. Like you just like if you're Alex Jones,
it hurts the same as $1, like you said.
Yeah, you just sit down and you just keep doing your show until somebody comes and just throws you out of the building. It's just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna come in here and do my show.
Kind of in a stupor almost.
Yeah, like you just don't even. $1 billion is such a hard hit. You don't even feel it. No, in court they showed that Alex Jones is worth way more than $20 million. Oh. Okie dokie.
Well, I hope he's way more than $1 billion rich, or this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna sting. This is 1 billion times funnier when you realize Corey is literally walking in right now to do a set. No, how is that?
Can you just not?
Bumbaclo says he's gonna have to sell a fuck ton of super male vitality.
Right.
They will never see 1 cent. Well, they're certainly not gonna see $900 some odd million.
Why would they not ever see 1 cent though?
They're gonna. I think they'll see some of it, but you can't. There's an old saying: you can't get blood from a stone or blood from a rock, and that certainly applies to this situation. Brian says they are making an example out of him, also to discourage future reporting outside of the official narrative. Well, it's not that Alex was reporting outside of the official narrative. Otherwise, they would have went after him for 9/11 and a bunch of other stuff. They went after him on this one because he finally fucked up. Like, he was finally not careful. He went after, instead of the government, instead of, like, multinational organizations, he went after individual victims' parents. And he said things about them that are provably untrue. And that is the very legal definition of defamation.
And it's, like, in collateral to that, like, he basically incited people to go harass these people too. People had to move. Like, they're having their whole lives uprooted because of this.
Yeah, so basically what happened to Alex is what every broadcaster works really hard to make sure it doesn't happen. That's the doomsday scenario, is you fuck up in the way you say something and it costs you. Nate wants to know how many tank tops you own.
Look, man, I'll get a count for you.
Brian says lawyers are getting 80+% of the money. I mean, that may be a little exaggeration, but I wouldn't doubt if it's close to that. Jay Dead said they're going to name their yachts after their dead son.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Josh.
A lot of Joshes, yeah. Sir Schweinhund says, imagine having your new mansion in a ritzy neighborhood and all the housewives ask what line of work you're in to make your fortune. My kid got shot in the face with a rifle. What?
Boy, that is something.
I sued Alex Jones.
Dude, that lawyer basically, fuck, like, even standing up for those families, he basically just got paid to say fuck you to Alex Jones. He just buried Alex Jones.
Pretty much.
How is that guy not famous? I don't even know his name.
Loaded Wrench says Alex Jones is 2 years into appeal. So they're saying that this is going to last a long time. like in appeals and shit like that. Because, if you get a $950 million ruling against you, you're going to want to delay that as much as you can. Nate says, Aaron is right. Every time I've been to court, I'm the only one dressed in a suit. Most people wear shorts, LOL. Could we wear a fucking suit?
Yeah, if I were in court, I would absolutely dress very nicely. I'm just thinking that they were playing a sympathy card.
Could we wear a suit? Nate's also telling us to do a better job keeping up with the chat. Look, our audience is starting to grow, so it's getting harder to keep up with the chat. It's one of those good problems to have, Nate. I'm doing my best for you, buddy, I swear. Citizen M says the lawyers are really in for a payday of a lifetime. They're not going to have to Corey about anything for a while. God damn it, man. Hey, Aaron, can April put me in an RNCH with those arms?
Rear naked chokehold?
Oh, wow, look at you.
I could try.
Look at the big brain on April. Aaron, you said Texas has a $20 million limit on those types of cases. Well, if I said that, then that's what it is. I stand by whatever it is. I stand by whatever the fuck I just said. I'm going to whore my ass off for steel toe now, says Marcus. Hey,
he's doing the Lord's work then.
We're going to make your VIP order here pretty soon. Jay Santos says, if Corey only talked about the fake January 6th debacle, he would be great. Why are we doing this?
My God.
You know who keeps up well with the chat. God damn it. I did this to myself, didn't I?
Wait, is he saying that on Wednesdays everyone gets red?
April's hair supplement says, if you want people to wear a suit in court, shouldn't you have to have your second mic on Wednesday? God damn it. Shane F says, in real court, yes, there's a dress code. In crisis actor court, you can wear flip-flops.
I think so. Yeah, the audacity to tell them what to wear after they've been put through the ringer, Aaron.
Wear a fucking suit. You're about to get rich.
Their kid died.
Your dead kid would want you looking spiffy. That's all
They're
I'm trying
looking
to
down
say.
Embarrassed that Dad's wearing his fucking Tommy Bahama shirt.
Dad, why do you look like such a schlemiel? It's been years since I've been dead.
Whoa.
Get over it.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
That kid, Kanye hates that kid now.
Schlemiel.
Balls Deep says SS baby bone broth.
Don't let it go to waste.
Why do I podcast says chat, wasting chat space, chat. Fuck you guys.
I like that guy.
Oh, me too. Happy Gilfmore says, having a hard time deciphering whose forehead is bigger.
Obviously mine.
I'm having a great time tonight, but you guys are very mean. 265 away from tonight's goal. If you feel like chipping in, there's the PayPal link in the chat. Super chats and memberships count. We're about 8 minutes away from the halfway point. We wanted to get under 200 by that time. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. But you know what? We always have a weird way of getting there. So thank you, guys. Max says, I hope Alex has a savings, and I hope...
No.
Nate says, I don't like it when the chat gets mean. Oh, fuck you, Nate.
Whatever.
Oh, boy. I am having fun. A lot of people, a lot of streamers and show hosts and stuff, they don't know what to do when their chat gets out of hand. Let me teach this lesson to you right now. Roll with it.
I just noticed that a good way to tell if you're balding or not is like if you're...
you are obsessed.
If your hairline, no, on you, starts creeping back to your headphone band. It's getting a little... If it's in line, we're in trouble.
Is the dickheadedness contagious? Are you catching some of the dickheadedness?
Do I have chat cancer now?
Look, now I'm looking. You
don't
sick,
look
twisted snatch.
A hair over 32.
Wow. That means a lot. How about now? I feel like I'm younger with my glasses off.
No.
No?
No.
Does that make my hair look worse? That makes my hair look worse. Oh, fuck.
There's nothing to separate it.
Oh, no. There's nothing to separate my hair. Jesus
Put it back
Christ.
quick. It's a crisis.
That is bad news.
You're going to start being that guy who gets like wider and wider glasses frames just to like keep up with the receding hairline.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Flex for the $5 and 10 from Ian. Thank you guys very much for your support. And 5 from Marcus. He says stealing chat space, 245.
Thank you.
Away from today's goal. Appreciate it. Continuing on here. Oh, fuck me. Sorry about that. Just switched over the screen. The hairline is under the headphones. It's a lost cause.
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's not there yet. I don't think.
Nate says, Aaron, you've reached your mature hairline. You won't lose anymore. I know what I'm talking about. Happy Gilfmore said she's just trying to push off how big her fucking forehead is.
I said mine was the bigger one.
She's looking up fucking hair supplements.
Yeah, you're welcome. Stop being so mean.
April has, what did that one person say? April has dead ass follicles. I absolutely love what you guys are bringing to us today.
I have DAF.
383 Novocaine says, get sponsored by Keeps. You can both share. I have no idea how much damage this is doing to my psyche.
What did he call that? Keeps?
Don't write it. Get the fucking pen out of your hand. You are not writing that down. Son of a bitch.
Okay, boss.
Emilio says, those tits are looking great in that tight shirt. April looks fine, too.
Oh, that's fun.
Need Trump says, Aaron, it happens to the best of us. Just don't do a comb over. I won't.
I'm starting to think bad hairlines are contagious. I didn't have this until I was with you.
The end of the world says, legendary YouTube time. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I'm glad people think this is funny.
Chris says, shave it all off. Be a man and shave it all off. We'll see.
Oh.
5 more minutes of this shit and I might.
There's some meanness in there.
Citizen M says, just imagine Corey on stage performing new material, but the glare of the chat is somehow
You know how like old TVs, if you left like a screen sitting on it long enough, it's permanently burned into the lenses.
Oh, Happy Gilfmore says Nioxin is the best for hair.
Yeah, I bet it is. Fucking guy.
Buzzy says, look, says Aaron has the same hairline as Jake Hudson. All right, listen, you son of a bitch. You've gone way too. We were having fun.
Can we pull up a picture and compare?
No, we can't. Yeah, I'll pull it up on Xvids.
Sometime I'd like to bring down your, you know that board from your graduation party that's under our bed with all them pictures on it? I want to bring that down here and show them.
How about overtime tonight?
Okay.
She has crippled ass follicles like Johnny, says Aaron's hair supplement. Or April's hair supplement.
Yeah, but his are on his legs.
Now your hair will just be thinning instead of receding, says Danger Bear Wolf Turtle.
The worst part is like the stress is going to make us lose hair quicker.
Informal Warfare says she writes down Keeps. I'm dead. Nate says, I've seen the Towboys group. They have business shaming anyone for their looks.
That's kind of a good point. Yeah, anyone comes to our anniversary show, you really get a good people watching in.
I'm having a good time. Electric Shoes with $4.99 says this is for his and hers Rogaine. There you go. You guys knock out the goal tonight. We'll be able to get our hair supplements.
I should get your can at least. We'll start with you.
Cody with $9.99 says, does Aaron use Nair shampoo? Fucking hate you.
Didn't you shower the other day and you were wetting your hair in the sink and you told me some hair came out? Didn't you tell me that?
Yeah, that was between you and I.
I thought you had cancer for a second.
Like Walter White just pulling clumps out?
Yeah.
Rupert says, April, you'd be a solid 5 without hair. You gonna want to get a deal with Drano for the shower. Aaron, your hairline looks like the Isthmus of Panama. I don't like geography jokes about my hair. Are you okay? You just like the fact that he got the word isthmus in there.
I haven't heard that word in years. I can appreciate that, Crew Smitty.
I Sneeze Profanity says, don't have kids. The baby is bound to be born like Benjamin Button.
We will never have kids, I promise.
Marcus says, Aaron would look like a sexy skinhead with a baldy. Thanks, black guy.
Hey, I know that guy's new here. I've actually shaved Aaron's head on the show back in the garage days. And his back in the same night. Guess which one had more hair on it?
Wonderful.
Very long and black.
Happy Gilfmore says, don't feel bad, April. At least Aaron's tits are bigger than yours. So there's that.
Never bothered me. I knew what I was getting into.
Aaron's hair supplement says, stunning Steve Austin turned into Stone Cold Steve Austin when he went bald. Who will Aaron turn into?
Do you want to shave your hair again just for old time's sake?
Your stepdad. Danger Bear Wolf Turtle says, I bet if you make a shave goal, you'll hit it faster than the night goal. Thanks.
Oh my God, we shave a strip for like every $50 donation.
Aaron, holy fuck, did you see Jake Hudson on the Kermit and Friends show? No, but if you have a link.
No way.
Ryobi says April should shave her beaver and put the hair in a toupee. They can alternate the days they use it. Nate just wants the next topic.
Come on, Nate. This is wonderful.
Hey, my wife looks great if she can stay awake.
Fuck.
Soon to be Aaron Vineyard. The End of the World says, yes, Gorilla Glue works well on hair, eyelids, etc. Thanks. April's hair supplement says, my name is not Aaron's hair supplement. All right.
You did say Aaron's.
I apologize for that.
I do like your name spelled like that.
You could use Aaron's head as a compass point. That's very sweet of you.
We can draw on it.
Thanks.
You can be one of those guys with like scalp tattoos.
Elias Campos with $8 says, do y'all have info? Ask if I could invite y'all on my podcast. Sure,
That's
absolutely.
Cool.
I love doing other people's podcasts.
Email.
Me and my bald fucking ass.
Get your email in there.
Yeah, I'll throw my email in the chat here. 225 away from our goal. Thank you, Elias. Aaron Irmholt Radio at gmail.com. There we go. There it is. All right. So now we can do the second part of this Alex Jones thing.
We took a detour.
We did take a detour. We wanted to have some fun with you guys. The link is in the chat for the goal if you want to chip in via PayPal or super chats or memberships. Let's go to CBS's news coverage of this. They had some insight that might answer some of our questions on this Alex Jones lawsuit.
All right. These are astronomical figures. The jury was really, really angry, and we can absolutely understand why. What Alex Jones did here is just horrific. And
now, see, this is where I understand what Alex Jones did was wrong, and he's admitted it was wrong, and he shouldn't have done that, so on and so forth. But the media is on a mission here to destroy the guy. Like, they're taking their victory lap. This isn't them reporting a news story. This is them celebrating a victory.
Right.
And that's not how the news is supposed to be. And I know that this won't exist ever again, and we'll never be able to go back to this. And who knows if it was really like this ever anyway, but they did a better job of hiding it. The news was supposed to just give you the information. That was it. Tonight at 7 o'clock, the top story is Alex Jones having... That's why they could get through like 20 stories in a half-hour news.
Yep.
Because they would just read you the headlines. But now this woman is going, Alex Jones, of course the jury was mad. He's an evil man who did terrible things. And like, they editorialize as if it's part of the story. And it's like, look, lady, I know that... Like, I always find myself in the middle on these stories because everyone wants to take somebody's side. And I usually just see... hey, I'll try to call this the best I can, balls and strikes. And for me, Alex Jones fucked up by saying they were crisis actors and that Sandy Hook was a hoax and all that stuff. He fucked up, and it's going to cost him money, as it does. Whether it should or it shouldn't, that's the way the law works.
That's a little arbitrary, yeah.
But for the news media to just basically celebrate it, it's like, even if you don't like him, that's not your fucking job. You're supposed to hide that part. So I don't know. I don't like
you're not supposed to show your own emotion on something, right?
Right.
And I was wrong when you asked me a few minutes ago, will we see those hundreds of millions of dollars, more than $500 million? And I thought, no, because of how cases typically go. And I think we now know what took the jury so long. One, there's nothing typical about this, thank goodness. And two, we know the jury really parsed for every different plaintiff. There were different amounts. And we heard this read out to us. First, damages or slander, then emotional distress. Those were the two buckets of damages that we had talked about before. Now, the other thing that we need to watch for here is that these are, as I understand it, under Connecticut law, these are compensatory damages. So the punitive damages for defamation is capped in Connecticut, I believe, to the amount of attorney's fees. And you heard that part of the verdict was that the jury said, yes, that's met here, but that there can also be punitive damages with respect to that Connecticut Unfair Business Practices Act. And there will be another hearing, I understand, in a few weeks where the judge makes that determination. So
Wait, so this could cost him more money?
Sounds that way. They're not fucking around.
Wow.
Keep going.
Based on Connecticut law, this might not even be the end of it. And let's be clear, Alex Jones is very, very wealthy, but a couple of things. One, this should, and I believe will, bankrupt him. And that's part of the point, I think.
Well, that's kind of what's disgusting, is that's not what the point should be. The point should be compensating these parents for for the damage that's been done.
Yes.
And for this woman to basically be smiling and celebrating while she says, oh, this will probably bankrupt Alex Jones, which was the point. It's like, lady, that's kind of the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
My conspiracy theory is that this was done to push Alex Jones into bankruptcy. But that's not the point of lawsuits like this. The point of the lawsuit is not to go, we're going to bankrupt you. The point of the lawsuit is we're going to get these parents justice, monetary justice for what they got put through. So you're kind of just, again, saying the quiet part out loud.
And I think it's the end of InfoWars. And this will really be a case study in how do you try to recover damages, that a damage award that is this high. And we will be looking at wage garnishes. We will be looking at liens. We will be looking at all different ways to try and recover every bit of these verdicts.
See, the problem is though, when you have a company like Alex Jones does, there are more ways where you can kind of hide shit and move stuff around and do all that. So
I don't think they're ever going to see that much of it.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see. You can't get $900-some million out of Alex Jones. He doesn't have the money. But what are you going to get? I don't know. Jack becoming a member for the second month. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate that. He simply says, oh my God, that nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kanye's been tweeting about her now nonstop.
Really?
No.
Oh,
saying it's
God. I would have believed that.
It's a giant schnoz. That's all. Marcus says, fucking Aardvark nose. She looks a bit like Chrissy Mayer, says Jay Santos.
Oh, that's not nice.
Correct. It's a political hit job. Yeah, I mean, look, man, it is. I find it to be a complete political hit job. And I think you can admit that whether you like Alex Jones or you don't like Alex Jones.
That certainly seems to be the point, because I don't think handing out $1 billion is justice. That's justice and beyond.
Yeah. Look, if you're Alex Jones, try to move to like Papua New Guinea and just do your show off the grid from like an RV like Art Bell used to do.
Oh my God, an RV streamer like Andy Dick.
Yeah, just be an RV streamer, but do it in like a third world country where they can't come get your money or anything like that.
You could be the richest man on said island.
Yeah, maybe go to Costa Rica. I hear Costa Rica's wonderful.
South America, nobody will fuck with you.
Yeah, just go somewhere where the dollar can stretch a little bit.
Sure.
And where there's no extradition. And just get yourself you can get a nice RV. Get yourself a nice RV, do InfoWars out of there.
Can you afford a nice RV after this? That's a couple $100,000 if you get a new one.
What's nice in Zimbabwe? I mean, define it.
We could have sold them our camper.
Yeah, you could have done it out of that one, Alex. We would have been glad to have you. Set up a Starlink and do your show from India, right? Jaime says he should go to Argentina. Oh, God, would the media have a field day with that? He's going to Argentina, where all the Nazis went when they ran from Germany. There you go.
He'll get a new lawsuit out there. Somebody will make something up. Some
guy will knock on his door and he'll be like, Alex, I'm here to drop off your alpha brain. Oh, good, I've been missing my alpha brain. He'll just throw him a court summons right through the door.
At least the frogs aren't gay here. I can just see him saying shit like that.
Snapper50 says, Dabbling John said he's working on some more Photoshops using your Viking game retard head. Well, he made a very funny one last time. That was really good. So,
do you know how thrilled I am that I caught that image of you? That was a total accident.
And now our fellow dabbler friends have it, and they're enjoying themselves.
I leaned over because I thought you two would look cute next to each other on your friend's birthday. And that's the face I got.
And that's what it turned into, right?
Now I see you in front of poor Jewish men starving.
I know, they made a Holocaust one.
That one was wild. I could not believe that.
Whew. Boy. 220 away from our goal tonight, guys. There's the PayPal link in the chat if you'd like. Raz wants the call-in number. There it is, sir. I guess Raz has something to say. If you want to throw into PayPal, that's cool. Super chats and memberships count as well. 220 away from our goal. If we knock that goal out, we will do overtime. And today we have Opie, we have Brendan Schaub, and we have DSP if we make it there. All right, guys. I don't know how many of you have children, and I don't know how many of you have children in public school. I don't know how many of you who have children who are in public school are on the fence about whether or not you should keep them there, or you should maybe scrimp and save and, do some things to, maybe send them to a private school or something like that. Let me play a video here that might sway your decision one way or another.
I'm already nervous.
Let's take a look.
I had a fun little conversation with my students yesterday. For those of you who are new, I am very queer.
Oh,
what?
That's not at all what I thought she was going to say.
That was news to me.
Wow, you hide it so well. I thought you were going to say you've been cast to play the Joker in the new Batman movie.
Thank you. I thought Joker. It's a cool hair color.
But she's queer. I mean, boy, knock me over with a feather.
Whew. She's funny.
I am non-binary and I use they, them pronouns, and my students know this.
Why did Demi Lovato have to go so far off the deep end? I don't understand.
She got fat again.
Oh, man. And she was starting to look kind of cute and all of that.
Got a few more piercings.
Yeah. All right, Raz and Chaz, why don't you sit on hold there for just a minute, buddy? We'll finish this one up, and then we'll come right to you.
But yesterday, I had some boys asking about it, and I explained to them, like, here's how you use it. Here's an example. We use it in the English language all the time. And they respond with, well, if you're a man, then I can be a woman. And so I looked at him, and I said, okay, do you want me to use she, her pronouns for you? And he goes, no.
Okay, I want to call timeout right here because while we're all sitting here going, oh, this is fucking exhausting, I want you to think about something. This is what they did in that class instead of learning shit that day.
Yep.
This woman had to make her crazy bullshit so much the center of attention that nobody was learning anything this entire time. Because she had to go, I'm they, them, I'm non-binary, look at my green and purple. Like, everything about her is a shout for attention.
It needs to just be, hi, I'm this person.
Right.
Just announce your name. That's it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be learning this today.
And then we move on. But now these kids are having this discussion with her because she just cannot help herself but bring it up to everyone she knows, even when it's maybe not the time.
And I responded with, okay, so you're just saying that to hurt my feelings then? And he goes, oh, what? No. Like, yes, you are. You're being a bully. You're being transphobic.
Oh, again. Instead of learning anything, now her feelings are so hurt because the kids wanted to ask her some questions about being non-binary, which school kids who don't know anything about this shit and really don't care until one of their green-haired teachers goes and throws it at them. So they go and they ask you some fucking questions. They asked you some slightly shitty questions, and now you're going to make it into a bullying thing. Because you know what? Being a victim gets you a little bit more attention.
When are schools going to learn that hiring people like this causes problems? I don't understand. Shouldn't there be a certain parameter of how you behave in general?
I don't think the schools see them as the ones causing the problems. They see the other kids as the one causing the problems. That's why the kids get punished and the teachers can just talk about their sex life, talk about their preferences, talk about their gender, all that stuff. I like what Florida did, which is, I don't care if you're straight, gay, binary, non-binary, everyone shut the fuck up until the kids are old enough to talk about sex.
I agree. I can't imagine ever wanting to talk to my teachers about sex.
No.
Not ever.
Not even the hot ones.
No, it's still awkward.
And the boys around him kept saying the same stuff. Eventually I shut it down, but how am I supposed to call parents about this behavior when they're probably the people that they learned it from?
I don't know. Stop being a giant fucking cry for attention and maybe teach the kids some shit. And if you didn't make your identity the whole center focus of the class, you probably wouldn't be getting any of this shit. The biggest question, and how about this? You know, you talked about the schools having some standards. How about we have some kind of a dress code and shit like that where you can't come to school if you're going to be a teacher in an authority position, which demands you be taken seriously, with fucking rings in your face and purple and green hair.
Do you know how funny that is? Because back in high school, there used to be still some lore lingering where if you got tattoos and shit, certain places aren't going to hire you. So I personally wouldn't get hired somewhere because I've got this on my arm. I'd have to cover it up.
Right.
Isn't that something?
Dude, you can't play for the Yankees if you have a beard. And yet, if you're going to teach in a school, you can show up with metal in your face and purple and green hair and talk to the kids about, oh, yeah, I identify as a dick-having person or a not dick-having person. Look,
I can't imagine caring. Like, it really doesn't matter. It's not something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, so how about we all just shut the fuck up about it?
And how about if a kid does ask about it, you just send them to the counselor or something like that.
Or how
call
about
their parents and ask them to address it with them.
How about this? If you bring it up, you got to deal with it. You don't get to bring shit up and then go, oh, no, I shut it down. Oh, so, okay, when you want to talk about it, it's fine. When the other people talking about it might be a lesson to you that maybe you just keep that under your hat because it's not important in the school setting.
You're preaching to people who would never see it that way.
You're right. And I would probably be a bigot by the end of the conversation.
Yeah, you're already there.
Probably. Balls Deep with $5 says only a fan would donate. Oh, thank you, buddy. Appreciate
Thanks.
that. $5 from Jack Floyd. He says, okay, this needs to stop. These people are out of control. What? I'm doing my best. 210 away from tonight's goal. Thank you very much. JC says, I mean, Mrs. Cups is a different story. See, they want Mrs. Cups to talk about her tits and all that stuff, but she's too busy wanting to have people's eugenics babies for money. You didn't hear the story about Miss Cups today?
When was it?
The OnlyFans teacher today?
Nope, I missed that one.
There's a teacher now who wants people to pay her. She's an OnlyFans model who used to be a teacher, and she's now knocked up by an ex-student's kid because she met an ex-student in a bar one night when he was like 21.
Oh.
He fucked her, took her home and fucked her, and then she didn't know it was a former student of hers until the next day. She got pregnant. She told him, you don't need to stick around. I'll raise this thing by myself.
We've heard this before.
Yeah, and now she's offering people to pay her to carry a baby for them, married or unmarried. She proudly calls herself a homewrecker. She only sleeps with married men. She says, married or not married, and I'll carry your baby for you so they can be good looking and have great hair and eyes and a body like I do.
So it's not even that she's going to carry their baby for them. It's your husband's going to fuck me and we're going to have a baby for you two.
She just wants to have hot babies.
That's pretty sick.
She just wants to be a Nazi incubator for eugenics babies.
That must have been a follow-up because I do remember you and I talking about...
It's the same woman.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go to Raz of Chaz. What's up, buddy?
Well, hey, sorry, I'm a couple minutes late here now. I found out I was about 45 seconds behind in the chat, so when I called in, you're already on the next story. But I just had a quick thing about the Alex Jones. So we pretty sure he can't pay for all this,
right?
But what would you think? And this is kind of something I would chit chat for a quick second. What would you think if he just stirred the pot and he owes like 120 million to one person? What if he just paid everybody or everything he owes to one person and fucked the rest of them? Would they all hate each other and fight and try to kill that one person?
I'll give you points for creativity, but no, they will hound him until the day he dies. And then
because then one parent would get like all the money and then none of them would have anything and they'd have to try to garnish wages and one parent's just super rich. It cause a lot of infighting maybe.
Yeah, I think Bumbaclow's right. He might just have to sell his butthole.
Alex Jones OnlyFans.
Listen, I'm going to have a baby with that Mrs. Cups, and we're going to split the money. I figure we can have great Aryan babies. I'm going to fuck her tits off.
All right, I'll hang up and listen.
Right, thank you, buddy. There you go. Daniel says Alex will drag this thing out in court for years. They're not getting a cent. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be...
What a way to live, though. There's got to be some days where you're like, I've got to fucking just pay for it and be done with it.
That's a good idea from Piffy Puffs. Alex Jones OnlyFans.
There's got to be a certain amount, like once this is all, the dust is settled, where he says, like his lawyers say, he can only afford to pay this much. So this has got to be acceptable, and we've got to call her quits after that.
Loaded Wrench says, Aaron, there's a video. Alex Jones was live when they did the verdict. He's still saying shit. Well, I mean, might as well not stop now, right?
Yeah, what are they going to do? Charge you another $1 billion?
No. He says he's going to tie it up in appeals. Okay. So we can, let's see if we can find Alex Jones ranting about it quickly today. Alex Jones verdict. We'll do that and see if we can catch Alex talking about Alex Jones on the hook for nearly $1 billion in damages. Alex Jones ordered to pay. I guess they're not going to show his part of it. YouTube is a tricky place to go to for Alex Jones stuff because they don't want Alex on the platform. Like they'll allow you to put clips of him up, but they don't want like his show or anything on the platform. Alex Jones' attorney sounds off, so we have that. InfoWars Alex Jones ordered to pay $1 billion. Attorney analyzes verdict. Yeah, I don't see anything from Alex Jones. If any of you guys have a link of Alex's response, we'll take a look at that. But here's his lawyer.
We disagree with the basis of the default. We disagree with the court's evidentiary rulings. In more than 200 trials in the course of my career, I've never seen a trial like this. And we very, very, very much look forward to an appeal. The jurors heard that Mr. Jones was responsible for the creation of all the craziness that affected the Sandy Hook world and the Sandy Hook parents. You and I, we all know better. Why the jury was permitted to make a decision based on an incomplete record is a mystery to us.
That's because they were out to get your client from the beginning. He gave them the slightest opening, and they shoved their whole fist in there.
Oh, yeah, so. Alex had to go.
Yeah.
And it's a mystery that we will address in the appellate court. From my perspective, this is as dark and disturbing an experience in court as I have had in a professional lifetime. And that includes cases involving the death of children and the murder of spouses. So we look forward to our prospects on appeal. I congratulate the folks at Koskoff and Beater. My heart goes out to the families. We live in divided times. They've been weaponized and used for political purposes in this country, in my view. And today is a very, very, very dark day for freedom of speech.
Okay, well, there you go. There's his response. So they're going to appeal it. So, like, in terms of, like, immediately, I don't think anything changes for Alex.
No, it sounds like they're going to, well, obviously they're appealing it.
Yeah. So they'll...
I'm stuck in a weird spot, too, where it's like, yeah, the things he said were completely, like, evil and untrue, but $1 billion evil? I don't know.
Yeah, Chris says, this is like Red Bar, except we can see Jules. This show is nothing like Red Bar. A, it's to the point a little quicker, and B, we don't just sit and watch H3. Rain says, Alex Jones is crazy, but very sweet. Daniel says, why does Alex always hire lawyers who look like nut jobs?
They're the ones crazy enough to get the job
right.
done.
I think those are the ones that'll take him as a client, or the ones that'll be the most enthusiastic about defending him.
Well, you just heard. He said he's dealt with cases before with like kids dying and murders and all that shit. So
it's just great to see that Dr. Oken from Independence Day is doing so well. I was worried about him when the aliens got that tentacle around his neck.
Oh, sure.
You know, the release me. By the way, you know what's bullshit about that sequel, which I don't think you've ever seen it?
Nope.
You know, in Independence Day, where the aliens get the Dr. Oken and they do that thing? What was the assumption about the fate of Dr. Oken after that moment?
You'd think he died, right?
You remember but like even Adam Baldwin's character went up to Data from Star Trek, and he even checked his pulse, remember? And he gave a look like there was no pulse.
Right.
So you would think he was dead. In the sequel, he just shows up. He was just in a coma for a really long time.
Oh, he was fine. He was strong.
Yeah, he was okay. Dr. Oken, they needed him back.
You didn't enjoy seeing him come back? What?
I mean, look, I don't mind seeing, I can't remember his name. You guys will remember the actor's name. I like, Brent Spiner. Does that bother you? That I knew Brent Spiner's name?
No.
Okay. Good. I liked seeing him. It's just the way it took to get there was, The End of the World says, Citizen M says, every time Aaron criticizes Red Bar, a Vikings fan loses their mom to breast cancer.
Oh, and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I wouldn't have criticized unless he was shitty towards us first. That's all. And if I didn't, start really kind of falling out of love with his show since he came back. But
how's he doing? I haven't listened.
I don't know. He hasn't done a show in 2 weeks. So he's probably not feeling very well.
I'm telling you, that Sven stuff probably stressed him out so bad it made him sick again.
Yeah.
Really sick.
Sven thinks that watching H3 too much got him sick, which I wouldn't disagree.
That wouldn't be far off.
Yeah. 210 away from tonight's goal. If you guys feel like chipping in, there is the link in the chat. There you go. 210 away from tonight's goal. The PayPal link is there in the chat. Our memberships and super chats count towards the goal as well. If we hit our goal, we break even, and we do an extra 30 minutes of show tonight. So let's see if we can knock that out before the offering plate segment, which takes place in about a half hour. Let's see if we can get close tonight. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
very much. Jay simply writes, Mersh fucking sucks. Well, he's not here.
It seems like really out of place.
I don't really know why you came to us to tell us that, but he is not available on our show at the moment. So
still glad you're here, buddy.
I believe Nightwave starts at like 9 o'clock. If you'd like to go tell Mersh that you feel he sucks, I'm sure Mersh would be more than happy to hear that from you. And you can certainly bring that to Nightwave or Revenge of the Sis, Jay.
Marquise, oh no, he says, I kind of stopped listening to H3H3. Marquise, you listen?
Oh, no.
Oh, buddy.
Look, you know what? Let's just move on. I don't think it's
That
worth
was
this.
jarring.
Marcus, why don't we just, hey, I have an idea. Let's forget we ever saw him say that. And then we could just move on to something else.
Say what?
Here's something less troubling than finding out Marcus listens to H3H3. Let's watch a less troubling story than that.
Matt, a disturbing story tonight spanning both sides of the bay.
Yeah, a Baldwin County woman discovers a fetus in a jar after buying the contents of a mobile storage rental unit during an online auction.
There's just...
So this woman basically did the Storage Wars thing.
Yeah.
Where she bought a storage spot at auction, and inside the storage unit, because I guess what, they didn't go through and look through the thing before they put it up for auction, was a fucking baby fetus in a jar. A human baby fetus.
That's a person.
Oh my God.
In a jar.
What the fuck kind of psychopath? I mean,
Who
forget
jars their baby?
Look, forget disposing of the fetus and all that stuff, but I guess it's hers. She can do whatever she wants.
That is
Let's
weird.
find the person who used to own that unit, and can we haul them in and ask them a couple questions?
What if they bought it and then sold it again because they were afraid?
Oh boy.
Whoever put their baby in a jar, though, it's like, oh, I just want the thing to live forever.
Baby in the jar-o. I said a ga goo goo ga 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 goo. I ain't got no daddy, oh. I ain't got no daddy, oh. I'm just a fetus in a jar-o.
Some of your best work ever.
Sorry,
I'm going to be singing that later.
My mommy couldn't have me. Ectopic pregnancy. They had to execute me and use a vacuum on me. I said a goo gaga goo gaga goo. Don't tell my daddy, oh. Don't tell my daddy, oh, that there's my fetus in a jar, oh. I'm sorry. I'm going to take this story down for just a second. I just want to see what the rest of you thought about that particular part of that segment.
You can't be here and not like Aaron.
No?
At this point. Like, you have to love Aaron.
I mean, if you're
times.
remarkably pro-life, you probably did not appreciate that.
Hey, they kept it preserved for all times.
Thank you to Would You Blow Me for becoming a Yeehaw Club member, 205 away from our goal tonight.
It's a good time to do it.
Jack Floyd says, best song ever.
Man.
More Talmudic tunes, please. Well, I didn't make that one Jewish. Bumbaclo calling it abortion Talica. Turtle says, the best part about Jar Baby is the grease. The baby fetus will restore your energy.
That's fucking gross.
Sorry. That song was by Thin Fetus that I did, by the way.
A big lump of knobs. Just work.
It's baby fetus. A big lump with knobs. It's in some juice.
It's in some juice.
I can't imagine a more perfect thing.
It's true.
Oh. Sir Schweinhund says, still looking for the lead to this story. We'll get there. Jeff Reed says, goo gaga goo got me. Well.
It is good. That was really good.
Mama had a preemie. My daddy wouldn't see me. I said a goo gaga goo.
No, you just sound Italian.
Oh, boy. Planned Parenthood Inc., best album ever. I thought it went. I thought it right when you started singing it, says Sandy Squatch. Oh, well, we're both comedic fucking geniuses then. Loaded Wrench says it was a pretty hanger. It was a pretty hanger. My daddy was a banger. Reach in with both hands. Pull me out by my fingers. I said a goo, gaga, goo, gaga, goo. Pull harder, daddy, oh. There's a fetus in the jar, oh. Marquis says fetus in a jar should be recorded.
You're giving Weird Al a run for his money.
Well, some people say that fetuses last longer pickled. What? Huh?
It's true, though. How big was this fucking fetus, though? Can you imagine? Like, you've got
probably
just a
about
baby
7
in a
or
jar.
8 pounds. Baby in a jar. I want that song in my playlist.
It's really good.
Jeff says, don't know my daddy. Oh.
Fatalica.
Oh. Fetalica.
Fatalica.
Hi, Maine says, I feel bad for laughing, but it's funny. Then don't
The kids,
feel so bad.
like we've said before, the kid's already dead.
You're not going to hurt the kid's feelings.
It's over for him.
He's in a jar. I'm pretty sure he ain't coming back. It's not like it's Hulk Hogan in a sleeper hold, and after the third one, he's going to go, oh, shit.
It's probably really pruny by now.
Oh, yeah, he's probably his ears probably don't even work. You probably twist that thing off, just like.
Twist that dick. Oh, no.
Joe E says, can you please shit on Opie now? We'll see if we hit overtime. We've got Opie for overtime tonight. We're, 2:05 away from our goal? If we hit overtime, we got plenty of Opie stuff for this evening. All right, can we finish the story, please?
This chat's very fun tonight.
Can we go ahead and finish the story of the...
Could she just finish her pregnancy for us and we wouldn't have this story?
Well, you are asking for a lot.
It wasn't until she got the boxes home, though, from Mobile and started going through them that she made the discovery.
At least it's not going to stink. It's in formaldehyde.
What if it leaks?
Oh,
what if there's a leaky jar?
You don't want a leaky fetus jar in your living room.
Leaky fetuses.
By the way, countdown to when we see leaky fetus jar in the chat. Seems like one that someone's going to adopt.
News Baldwin County reporter Hal Sherrick.
Hey, George went from Cheers. All right.
Oh, my God.
Hey. What's shaking, Norm? Well, none of that fetus's cheeks and none of its chin, Sammy.
Unless you give her a good wet fur.
Oh. Hey, Norm. Jack Frost nipping at your nose? Yeah, now let's get Jack Fetus nipping in my formaldehyde jar. Trying to do Norm lines from fucking Cheers from 40 years ago. Sorry, guys.
Talk with the stunned woman who also found cremated remains from that unit. He's live with the details.
Hey, at least they didn't burn the fetus.
They burned his brother, though.
Oh, well, he was a prick from what I hear.
And how that woman...
He kicked his mom in the stomach, and that's how the whole thing went down.
Wouldn't that be something if you got, like, a totally psychotic pregnant woman, like, she gets her first kick, she's like, you fucking calm the fuck down.
Understandably upset with what she found.
What? You've never tried to sell a fetus on the dark web? Fucking idiot.
Actually sounds like I don't know. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Who buys that?
Yes, she is. And she tells me this is the very first time she's ever...
He looks like a Hal Sherrick. You think Hal and you see this guy.
Bought
it's
or
good
bid on a
brother.
storage unit at auction. Now, the cremated remains are labeled, and she's been working to get those remains back to...
Good. I'm glad that all the baby fetuses and the burned up bodies were labeled. It's, it's one thing to keep a jar of a fetus. That's fine. But to not label it, that's just weird.
That is weird. You have to now name it yourself.
Floaty. Nemo. Clearly.
Oh, I found Nemo.
Yeah. Just sitting there floating in the jar.
Floating in a jar.
What I do when I have a fetus in a jar is I take a Sharpie and I write, "It is certain," and "try again later" on his back and his stomach. And then I ask questions to it, and I shake it like this. And I see
you put like some squid ink in the...
Yeah, and then I see which side comes up, and then I know my fortune. That's what I do with jar fetuses. They're dead. They don't know.
Loved ones. Now, not so, though, with the fetus. Police now investigate.
Not so with the fetus.
Rebecca McManus still has 5 boxes she says contain cremated remains. She hopes to connect
Holy shit, was it? Oh my God, it's a serial killer, and he cremated all of his victims under false pseudonyms.
I am starting to think that might be what we have here.
families of the deceased to get the ashes back in the hands of loved ones. She had already purchased one storage unit in Mobile when she was given a second one when the higher bidder didn't show. That's where the remains were found. Finding the ashes was disturbing enough. Then she opened another box.
I found a fetus in a jar. The jar was supposed to be, it wasn't a specimen jar or anything. It was supposed to be for sutures, for an autopsy, I suppose. I'm not sure what happened with that or where they were going with it and why he was in there. But
don't blur it. I want to see it.
Show me the fetus.
That looks big, though.
Looks kind of like a koala, a little bit.
They have gonorrhea.
Yeah, I thought it was
Chlamydia?
a heart when I
Chlamydia.
lifted it up initially, and it was not a heart, and I freaked out a little.
McManus
Yeah, but it probably had a heartbeat at one time, so you were close.
says she contacted the Mobile County Sheriff's Office initially, who directed her to call Robertsdale Police to take possession of the fetus.
Yeah, they were all sitting there going, who do we forward this lady's call to in order to get the information about this fetus? I'm not really sure. Who do we have her talk to?
Why is no one but me trying to ask the question, why does whoever that previous owner was, why do they have several different families worth of like cremated bodies? Do you know what I mean? They're all saying that they want to get them back to their various families.
Yeah, it's kind of troubling.
Most families don't just go in on a storage unit together with their family members.
Whoever those people were, nobody gave a fuck about them.
But why are they all together?
Like
It's a multi-family storage unit with your dead loved
Look,
one
I have a
powder?
feeling once we dig into this, we're going to find some very disturbing shit. So let's just enjoy the fetus jokes for now.
Not something we expected to deal with, or it was hard to believe what we were being told, and then obviously later what we saw.
Robertsdale Police opened an investigation, as they would with the discovery of any deceased person, with the hopes of ruling out foul play or any criminal element. The remains have been taken to the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences in Mobile. Meanwhile, McManus has taken on the task of tracking down several families, 13 in all. The cremated remains are...
Yeah,
That's a problem.
Something is going on there. You shouldn't have to contact 13 families from one storage unit. Unless it was used by, would somebody
a funeral home?
Yeah,
director?
would maybe someone who runs a funeral home?
I will tell you right now, they
have it in
keep
there?
the dust in the funeral home area or the wherever crematorium.
Yeah, I don't.
They don't put them in a storage unit.
labeled by various third-party crematories, giving her some direction.
The first couple of families that I reached out to, it was miscommunication. Somebody thought somebody else picked them up, and they never did. So they were very happy to get them back.
Oh no! So they thought another family member picked up the remains, and nobody ever did. So this probably was Pinecrest Storage Unit, because they all said Pinecrest Cemetery on them.
They're all or somebody stole them.
No, I think this was probably the cemetery.
Okay.
They had a storage unit.
They can have them in their hands. The others were really surprised because they were not expecting that phone call at all.
See, they didn't even know they were missing then.
Rebecca McManus gave us the names and dates of death of 5 people whose families she's still trying to track down. We'll be posting those soon on Fox 10 TV.
That's good. Yeah, why don't you guys post the dead people's families so we can find them and
Okay, but the baby in the jar.
in the jarro.
Come on, are they going to have to now take that baby out and test it to figure out who's that baby's parents and shit? And who that baby is? You know what I mean? How do you figure that out?
Look, April, there are no contingencies for something like this, all right? I don't know what to do when you find a baby in a jar. Marcus, renewing his membership for a second month, says Fetus in a Jar is the country music equivalent to Baby Daddy Free by Neek. Maybe they're sister songs from different genres. That puts us an even $200 away from our goal tonight. There's the PayPal link in the chat if you want to use that. It's also tagged up at the top of the chat. There you go. Take a look. If you feel like chipping in a few bucks, we got 20 minutes until the end of the show. If we hit that $200 goal, we'll add on 30 minutes of overtime where we've got, we got some Opie stuff. We've got some Brendan Schaub stuff. And I think we have some DSP. The DSP stuff we might get to before overtime. But if we get to overtime, we got Opie and Brendan coming up. Taste Fairy says, Aaron, did you see that Zoom court hearing I sent you on Twitter? Yeah, that one, I saw that one a while back. The guy with the goofy-ass name that the judge yelled at him for having. We did that on the show a while ago.
Okay.
Leaking. There you go. Leaking fetus jar in the chat says, imagine how many jars Nick Cannon has.
Oh.
He loves all of his kids.
He's about to have 11. Yeah, and he loves them so much that when they're born prematurely and they die, he has to jar them because he can't be away from them.
Right. I mean, the guy, one thing you got to give Nick Cannon, he fucking loves his children. That guy, he takes care of his kid. I mean, he's got, he has far too many of them.
Yeah, almost 11.
He's been quite a bit irresponsible.
With, I think I counted 6 different women.
It's a lot.
And sometimes at the same time.
It's an overwhelming amount of women that he has an overwhelming amount of children with.
Somehow they're never upset with each other. They all just like the paydays.
Nick must write good checks. That jar probably a miscarriage that never got buried, says Loaded Wrench. That makes sense. See, if it's a cemetery or a funeral home, they might have just never buried any of these remains because maybe nobody claimed them or set up arrangements or anything else, so they're just sitting there. It's possible. Or somebody who...
Yeah, but a miscarriage that large, I don't know.
Marquise says, LOL, you're right, Jay. That was very insensitive of me. Oh, yeah, Marquise called you all pores for not knocking out the goal so far tonight. And then Loaded Wrench pointed out that... or Jay Santos pointed out that Marcus just got a gifted VIP from someone else. So there is that part. This is a very Florida story. There was a school playground that neighbors were making noise complaints about. And the school, they felt, wasn't doing anything about it. So the neighbors decided to take matters into their own hands. And instead of petitioning the school or going to a school board meeting or doing anything like that, they decided to basically have a fuck you annoying off with the school and decided to protest all the noise being made in their own way. Now, I would say if you don't want things being noisy where you live, don't move across the street from an elementary school.
No, that's a bad idea.
But that's just me. Let's check this one out.
A suburban elementary school decided to expand their playground. They added some musical instruments.
And some neighbors couldn't stay.
No.
You can't do that to these people.
Yeah, you give a bunch of elementary school kids outdoor instruments on their playground.
Think about it. We got kazoos, we got recorders, we've got harmonicas.
Oh, that's a fucking disaster.
Easy shit they can play.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Stand the constant noise, so they took matters into their own hands. CBS 2's Jermont Terry is live in Orland Park, where parents say the homeowners crossed the line. Jermont.
Erica and Joe, this playground pits parents against neighbors. And when School District 135 expanded the playground with bells and xylophone and drums, the sounds alone left some neighbors furious. But what one neighbor did in return, blaring explicit music, brought police here to the playground.
Uh-oh.
Behind Prairie Elementary School in Orland Park sits this updated playground. When the new digs popped up, kids loved it. But the same could not be said for the family whose backyard is within feet of the playground.
We can't do anything.
Lauren and Ruben Rayo tell me the noise coming from the playground's musical instruments turned excessive.
We were not able to open our windows because of the...
Could we get better equipment, please? It's the fucking news.
It sounds like they're in a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
fact that the instruments were constantly being played.
Here's a quick clip of the noise they recorded. So the family...
Oh, no. That sounds like there's a fucking marching band going through your neighborhood.
That's pretty fucking loud.
Ew.
Family installed outdoor patio speakers and originally just blared loud music. After a year of complaining to District 135 School Board, the Rayo family recently upped the volume and lyrics and started playing explicit music like rapper Cardi B.
They started playing Wet Ass Pussy for the kids on the playground.
Wet Ass Pussy? That's funny as hell.
Kids are so fucked up now, though, that they were probably just singing along and enjoying it.
Some wet ass pussy.
All the third graders like, bring a mop and a bucket.
Teeth. They got fucking missing front teeth singing wet ass pussy.
Wet ass pussy. Mod, we eat, mod, get a plate. Like, oh God, you kids are not supposed to be shouting that. Jesus.
This is kind of funny though, because that is obnoxious. I mean, it's loud enough, just kids on a playground. Don't give them instruments.
I mean, if they've been complaining for a year and nobody's done anything, that means nobody's taking you seriously. So yeah, I guess you do have to do something about it.
This is a cry for help. And even if you do sell your house, how are you going to try to sell your house with that next door?
It's also an excuse to play good music.
They can play Baby in the Jar.
Yeah, exactly.
All while kids played. Take a listen.
Obviously, you know what that...
They really were playing Wet Ass Pussy.
Oh, boy.
Woo. Okay.
You still think it's good music, Aaron?
Fuck. Well played.
stands for, right? So I'm not going to say those words. To me, it's more like harassment.
Please do.
You know, they're harassing the children. To me, it's even borderline like sexual harassment to us mothers being there.
Parents complain.
What was wrong with her voice?
Look, the parents need to provide a united front here. If you guys don't all get behind these people, these kids are going to run roughshod over the whole thing. So I don't know what this lady's talking about, but...
I do agree. Why would any parent be in favor of like having the instruments on the playground? It's going to be obnoxious for you to take your kids there too.
I'll tell you why she doesn't live there. She lives away from the school.
You know what? Yeah, that's true. Her kids just go to that school.
Right. She doesn't give a shit. And I bet you these two don't have kids that go to that school. So they're being bothered for no reason.
Police were called, and it turns out, while in poor taste, it was not illegal, which is why more people sounded off to board members.
And I've had other parents tell me that it includes pornographic sounds of people being murdered, like from scary movies.
Tuesday night.
Sir, can you reenact for us?
All right. If you don't turn down that school noise, I'm calling the Bear Jew out. If you've heard of Aldo the Apache, I know you've heard of the Bear Jew.
The board heard from other neighbors who admit the playground sounds are out of control.
I really do feel for the Rayo family. We go for our walks and we hear it. The kids beating away and everything else, and it's like, okay.
I played.
It's obnoxious.
Well, I spoke up for an Indian feller today. Check that off my don't accuse me of being a racist card. That's wonderful. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go play David Allan Coe at high levels in front of the school. Trying like the devil to find the Lord, working like it from a room and board.
He just gets on board and starts blasting music with them.
Yeah.
And uses it as the excuse.
Right.
The blaring what they consider.
Ooh, play Wet Ass Pussy, but in the round. So, like, one neighbor starts it, and then they get one bar in, and then another neighbor starts it. Like a really perverted row your boat.
You want to try that here?
Not without earplugs.
Vulgar music in front of the children.
Because we had to get the board's attention.
Orland Park Police investigated
Attaboy.
the complaints and convinced the school to temporarily remove the instruments. Yet the board is not ready to keep them away. And Rayo says if the instruments return, so will the music.
Just fix it. Take it away.
Do you think, Ruben, that there was a mistake made playing such vulgar music in front of children?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, no, Ruben.
Ruben.
You got to lean in, Rube. Come on, buddy. Now was the time to get bold.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I was completely out of line. It was, absolutely.
Oh,
but you know
no.
what? I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah, but now they're not changing shit. Now you just admitted that you were out of line. They're going to take that as their W, and now what can you do?
Protect my family and my home because I can't move my home.
Now, the family says it will no longer play any more vulgar music. However, if those instruments come back to the playground, their music will return, just clean music, blaring even louder.
Okay, I like that. All right, so we recovered at the end there. So the school's going to take away the loud instruments.
All right.
And he's going to stop playing his loud music, but he basically got the nuclear option. He's like, look, if you bring back that noisy fucking shit, I'm going to bring back my music.
He goes super hack and starts playing like Buck Cherry.
I don't think that's very clean, though.
I wouldn't play clean. Like if they went back on their thing and gave the instruments back, I'd go back on what I said I'd do.
Thank you very much to Matthew for the $20 on PayPal. Appreciate that big time. Guys, we are 180 away from our goal tonight, and we are about 7 to 8 minutes away from the offering plate segment. So there's a chance we can knock out this goal tonight if everybody chips in. Well, not everybody. I mean, we would be way past it then. But if we get another dozen or so people chipping in, I think we can knock this thing out, do a half hour of overtime, do some Opie, do some Brendan Schaub, have a little fun during our overtime segment tonight. April and I will also be on tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Central Time, but 180 away from our goal. Let's see if we can knock that out. There are the links in the chat if you'd like to be a part of that. Otherwise, we will pass around the offering plate in about 6 or 7 minutes here. We didn't get to this last night, but New Zealand is planning to tax emissions from livestock burping and shitting.
Oh, you didn't want to say that word.
I'm not going to say the word dung. I'm not 4 years old.
That is so fucked.
I'm not saying the word dung. Yeah, New Zealand, I guess they got a taste of fascism and authoritarianism with COVID because they were one of the countries that went nuts about it. So I guess they got a taste for it and they got really used to it.
Sure.
So they decided, well, fuck it. Let's just go all the way. We're going to tax cattle shit and tax cow burps. First of all, you're going to have the government now monitor cow burps, which is troubling.
I'll tell you how they do this.
How do you do that?
They take like a swath of like whatever certain number of cows, let's say 20 cows, and they monitor these cows and how much they burp, fart, piss, shit, and all this stuff for a certain length of time. And they just multiply that. They extrapolate that shit out. That's exactly what they do.
Okay.
They have they monitor a small little like
so it's like an estimate.
Section.
They'll take the average of like each head of cattle and what they produce.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll get taxed based on that. Well, good. I mean, it wouldn't be the government if it wasn't a dumb fuck way of doing things, I suppose.
They'll probably like purposely like feed them gassy foods. Be like the equivalent of feeding you Chipotle.
And of course, they're doing this for climate change. They're doing this to save the planet.
They're saving all of us.
Yeah, you got to limit the amount of cattle people produce because, even though they're using this stuff to, feed human beings and keep them alive, if we don't stop feeding people, we'll all die. So what we do is we just take away the food, and that'll solve the not dying thing.
They just want us all to eat hydroponic lettuce heads. I'm convinced.
There's no nutrients in that.
Nope.
The aim is for the agricultural emissions pricing system to come into force in 2025. Why waste time? A consultation looking at how levies are set, transition assistance, and sequestration, which the document defines as the process of removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, was launched this week and will run until November 2018. The government said revenue from the levy would be recycled back into the agriculture sector through new technology, research, and incentive payments to farmers. So they're basically going to bribe farmers to get rid of cattle by giving them money. But if they don't want to take their dirty money to keep their cattle, then they're going to charge them out the ass to keep them. So basically, they're going to make it unbearable and unsustainable to keep your cattle.
Can't afford it.
But they'll bribe you to get rid of them. And then probably just kill the cows and dispose of them.
These
and then
poor cows, they're just fucking existing.
Oh, it's just, you don't let these people plan the world. You just don't they're just so bad at it. And there's usually there's no logical, there's no logic behind it whatsoever.
Like, the cattle population is definitely at the bottom of the list of emission problems. Are they not?
Yeah. Cerberus says, eat the bugs, live in the pod. Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. Maybe, I hope I die first, but we'll get there.
They're just going to slaughter all cows one day.
Jeff says, has any climate change prediction ever come true? Weren't we supposed to be in an ice age? That's what I always say about like all the climate change stuff. I'm like, all right, guys, look, I don't want to be Mr. Anti-Science or anything. I'm sure the climate's changing. The climate's always changing, for God's sake. But at the same time, you guys have been making calls and they've been not coming true. Like, how many cities were supposed to be underwater by now 20 years ago if we didn't do something? And why is it that the answer to all of these environmental problems are the policies that you've wanted to enact for the last 50 years before you even knew there was a climate change problem? Like, all the answers to climate change. If it was like, hey, it looks like the way we solve climate change is by, this policy and that policy. And if it was like 60% this party's ideas and 40% this party's ideas, I'd be like, oh, well, that's probably a real thing then, because the solution seems to be like all hands on deck. Everybody's got a part to play. But no, it's like the planet's dying and we're all going to burn unless you do exactly what we want you to do. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the sales pitch you should be going with.
Meanwhile, the news media is trying to make us all think we're about to be in a nuclear fallout soon.
Well, yeah.
I say just let all the emissions flow.
Who cares about the global warming, right? We got nuclear war coming. Sure.
Did you see that? New Jersey and New York are buying up some kind of like radiation crisis medicines and stuff like that. I'm not kidding.
Well, I mean, if the Russians do decide to nuke us, they're probably going to go for that area first, so.
We won't be here to live through it. Won't, right?
with mutually assured destruction, the idea is that if somebody launches a nuke, we all launch them all at each other. So
I'm right. We're just done.
That's the idea. Like theoretically, that's what's supposed to happen.
God bless.
That's why we haven't had nuclear war is the idea for the last 60 years or 70 years, I guess now, because the promise is if you do it, we're all going to do it. And then we all die and nobody wants to die. So we'll see. Guys, we are about a minute away from throwing out the offering plate there, shaking the can, if you will, and seeing if we can knock out our $180 goal tonight. And if we can't knock it out, see if we can't get it to a manageable figure. Remember, if we get it to 50 or under, we do overtime tonight on what's called basically credit, thinking, we'll get there. Don't worry about it, like we did this morning. 180 away from our goal. Let's fire up the music. We'll hang out with the chat for a little bit. If we don't knock it out by the time the clock runs out, show will wrap up. We'll be done. We'll see you tomorrow morning. If we do knock out that goal during this offering plate segment, you guys want to throw a couple bucks in the hat after this 2-hour show, then we'll tack on 30 minutes to the end of the show, and we'll do some Opie, we'll do some Brendan Schaub, we'll make fun of some people, we'll have some fun. So let's fire up the music and see if you guys want to throw in a couple of bucks and knock out this goal tonight. There you go. 180 away. That is the magic number, and there is the PayPal link in the chat. Zio Gold says Eco Warriors should be the first ones to be thrown into the newly opened asylums. Oh, shit, we're opening asylums?
Are we really?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's not an oh, no.
The End of the World says make fun of Chicky McNugget. I can't do Michael's every night End of the World. I mean, I got to shake it up a little bit. Otherwise, we're becoming too predictable. I mean, we did a lot of Tony last night, and we'll keep checking in with him. We got his whole catalog of drive-thrus to go through, so don't you guys worry about that. We'll get to him. We'll get back to John. We'll get back to Chad, but I want to have a nice Opie and Brendan Schaub night if I could this evening, if we knock out our goal tonight. But right now we're at 175. Thank you very much to whoopsie daisy. No, not that person.
What?
Informal Warfare with $5. Appreciate it, buddy. JC says, someone donate $80 million. Shit, I should have sued Alex Jones.
Alex Jones will do it.
That's what I should have done. Thank you very much to Jeff for the $10. Very cool, buddy. Appreciate that. $10 over there on PayPal from Jeff. And we are 165 away from our goal with a couple minutes left in this evening's show. So let's see if we're feeling a little generous here down the stretch and we can get that knocked out. Again, 165 away from this evening's goal. If we don't hit it, we'll wrap it up here in a little bit. Otherwise, we got plenty of content for you guys. Thank you very much to Stu for the $10. That's going to knock us down to 155. So we're only about an hour or 100 away from doing the overtime on credit there. Thank you guys very much.
You can do it.
Yes, I got the math right there. 155 away and 2.5 minutes left. Cerberus says, here's my VIP fee. There is no VIP fee, goddamn you. Don't get people thinking that. But 145 away from the goal now this evening as the rally has started. Will the rally end successfully here? We've got 2 minutes left. There's a good possibility that it could. 2 minutes to go. 145 away. Overtime on the line here for Steel Toe. Of course, links in the chat, links pinned to the top of the page, super chats, memberships, and the PayPal stuff. All counts. Leaking Fetus Jar with $1.99 says hit the goal and we get April next Wednesday morning. God damn it. Turtle with $5. Thank you, buddy. 140
Thanks,
away
guys.
from this evening's goal. Thank you very much. Ryobi says, is VIP real or did my $250 go to Viking seats? I promise you it did not. I promise. All right, guys, less than 2 minutes left to go. 140 away. Actually, about a minute. Okay, we're in 1 minute. We got 1 minute left. And 140 away from our goal this evening. So it doesn't look like we're going to get there.
We could shave it down a
Maybe
little.
we could shave it down a little bit for the overflow these next couple of days and get that to a manageable level. We will see. But thank you guys either way. It's been a very fun show tonight.
Yeah.
We're 140 short, so we got about halfway there this evening. We got about 40 seconds left to go. Birdman says, I'll match 50 if we get 50. Now, that would take us into overtime. If Birdman's 50 was met, he would throw in 50, and that would get there. As we continue on, it looks like we're not going to make it. We are 20 seconds away.
We had some fun, huh?
We had a lot of fun tonight. It was a great show. We still have the off chance that we knock out that 50-50 deal, and then we would go to overtime. But as the clock winds down here, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, it looks like we are done for the evening. Well, guys, thank you very much. There's Mr. Nobody with $5. He says, shave it down like you two will have to do in a few years. Oh.
Thanks, buddy.
That's not very nice. Someone saying PayPal takes a sec. All right, I don't want to cheat anybody. Hold on a second. I'll give you a second here if you're making an effort. The End of the World says you could have made it. Jay Santos says, hang on, informal warfare coming in hot. All right, well, if he says I have to wait, I'll wait.
It's always very awkward when you think the show's wrapping up and then
I know.
suddenly it just comes back and it's like you're being jerked around mentally.
There are so many times in the offering plate segment where I go, all right, ready to go to bed, and I start planning the rest of my night.
You start getting comfy.
Yeah, and then someone goes, now hold on a minute, hold on, just wait 1 second. All right, I'm waiting.
I'm over here thinking of all the laundry I gotta fold.
Right, exactly. Someone's saying PayPal takes a second, but nothing.
Maybe he's just saying, hold on, maybe somebody.
Oh, wait, no, there it is. All right, hold on a second here. Looks like we've got Andrew for 50 and Ron for 10. Now, Birdman did say that he would match if it got to that point. We are now $75 away from our goal. I will now give Birdman a chance to follow through on his 50 for 50 deal, and then it looks like we will indeed be doing overtime tonight on Crest. So we did go, Informal Warfare says you dead naming son of a bitch. It doesn't
You
say
gotta know who that guy is right now.
It doesn't say the
You
thing
gotta
in there.
know. I know who that guy is.
Thank you very much, Birdman, for the 50, and we are 25 away from our goal tonight. We will knock the rest of it out in overtime. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
25 away, very generous people. 2 people throwing in $50 at the end there, and thank you to Ron for the 10. Very, very cool. Have faith in the Birdman. Indeed. Are you guys ready for a little bit of, I think we should do Opie first. Well, do you want to do Opie or Brendan?
Do the Opie first. I want to save the sweet stuff for last. Opie's a little more grinding for me to get through. I think Brendan's just funny.
Hey, Ron, just for you, buddy, we're going to buy new cameras and fix the gap. How does that? There you go. He's written it twice now, so I'll acknowledge that I saw it. We'll do it, buddy. We'll do it for you. The chat is saying Opie. They want Opie first.
Yeah, I'd want Opie first.
All right, so it looks like we're going to do Opie first. Ron's happy now. See, sometimes you don't have to yell at people in the chat. You just got to acknowledge them.
I'm telling you, I can move one of these cameras to the middle of one of these, and it can work. I just don't like it as much.
Cerberus with $25 super chat says no more goal. That's about 18. Who gives a fuck? I'm not going to haggle over $7. We have hit the goal for tonight. Thank you guys very much. Very sweet of you. All right, well, I will open up my Opie stuff.
Oh, you've got a lot.
That I have. Oh, boy. I told you. Opie. Oh, did somebody have a little squeakies hiccups? Oh. Did someone do their squeakies and get embarrassed? Not the squeakies. Are you going to be okay?
No.
Did you have a little air get trapped and your mouth queefed?
Oh, no.
Is that what just happened?
No queefing.
Did somebody have a mouth queef? For fuck's sake.
What the fuck?
Sorry about that. Jack Floyd says, what happened to DSP? We did DSP last week, and I've got some DSP stuff to do tonight, so we'll see. Cerberus says, I can't use PayPal with my pay card. That's fucking weird. Ron says, woohoo, thank you for fixing the sign. Look, I'll fix it eventually. I didn't say that.
How does this sound? Sometime like if we have free time tomorrow or maybe this weekend,
we'll fuck around.
I will show. I know how to do it. I will show Aaron and see if he likes it. I'm nervous.
How are you going to do it?
I just told you. You move one of these cameras. I've done it before when you weren't here. Oh, I had a one shot set up.
You're going to do a one shot?
Isn't that what he means?
No, he just means fit. He just means make this fit. If you're going to do two, make it all fit.
No, you actually can't do that.
Can't do that?
Because there's always going to be a gap between the two. I'll say why quickly so we can move on. If you crop our boxes that we're in anymore, like I start creeping into him and he'll get into mine, and you might as well do a one shot.
All right.
Because we're going to overlap.
Informal Warfare was $7, calling me a goldfish for getting the name wrong. Sorry, buddy. I apologize.
Goldfish? That's very fucking funny.
I am a goldfish. You are a very generous audience. You give us more than we deserve.
I know that guy's name
much.
by heart. You've got to also.
Fuck me to death, okay?
Yes, we all will.
Right in the asshole.
Right in the dirt.
Bend me over. Ream my anus.
Hey, your asshole is going to bleed. Okay.
Informal Warfare says just put the boxes together in OBS.
Isn't that what we've been doing, though?
What he's saying is, wait, I'm stupid. I think what he's saying is put the two boxes together, crop them, and make... I might just be a fucking idiot.
Okay, but we're still going to get into each other's boxes. Therefore, we should just do a one shot. It doesn't make any sense. Why put it together if...
Because I'm
a
fucking dum-dum. Loaded Wrench says, on PayPal, you can put your screen name on the side of your name. That's an idea, too, because I'm fucking dumb. How about that?
Aaron will dead name you. That's a warning.
I try not to.
You don't, though. You just read.
Sorry for being a reader. I apologize. All right. These people paid for overtime. Let's give them overtime, for Christ's sake. Enough about the backdrop. Enough about me being a goldfish.
Enough about that hairline.
Enough about my hairline. Let's talk about Opie. So, I told you earlier this week, that Opie has done about 6 or 7 Opie and Anthony videos since the last time we checked in on Opie.
When he therefore said, I'm done with Opie and Anthony.
Every time Opie talks about Opie and Anthony, he says, I don't want to talk about this anymore. God, it's so stupid. People, what he always says, like, people can't let it go. It was 8 years ago. They're obsessed with the show. And meanwhile, Jimmy doesn't talk about them. Anthony doesn't really talk about him all that much.
Just when he thinks something you did was stupid and
just
funny.
When he wants to shit on Opie a little bit. Opie is the only one talking about Opie and Anthony and then gets mad at everyone else for talking about Opie and Anthony. So let's check in with Opie and all of his O&A content he's been doing. This take is maybe the worst of Opie's takes that he's ever had. If you're an O&A fan, you remember the character Uncle Paul that Jim Norton came up with. April was not a big O&A person at all, so she won't know Uncle Paul. Uncle Paul was Jim Norton's child molester character. I can play a few clips of Uncle Paul later tonight if you'd like. But he was very, very funny. And Opie said that Uncle Paul was terrible for the Opie and Anthony show. Now, as a fan, I'll speak for myself. I looked forward to every fucking Uncle Paul segment there was.
I bet you did. Dirty girl.
He would talk about like different staff members and how he molested them. Mm-hmm. You'd be listening to the show and they'd be talking about someone as a kid, and you'd all of a sudden hear Jim Norton go, "Sure. He goes, when you were 5, I used to bounce you on my lap, and you had such a tiny little hiney." Like it was. And it's so much creepier.
That's really.
It was so much creepier than that. Would you like to hear some Uncle Paul before we play this clip?
I guess so.
Why don't we listen to some Uncle Paul Hargis for April, and she can decide whether or not it was a funny character or not. Uncle Paul, Opie, and Anthony.
I don't like us talking about kids' little butts. That's not okay.
All right, here we go. Uncle Paul.
Who's that old guy over there? Uncle.
Take him to the ball game.
Yeah,
they showed me this in the garage.
They did. They always had. I would load him full of soda. Then you'd have to take him to the restroom. Dad, you watch the ball game. I'm going to take Timothy.
They can't go alone. And of course, you got to take him into the stall because
it's embarrassing for the boy. He don't want the other people seeing his penis.
And the urinal's too high, so you got to go to the stall to.
Yeah, you got to hold him over there.
Yeah,
you hold him up, right?
Hover. Just drips out of there.
Oh, God.
You gotta pat his bottom to drip it all out of there. Get out of there.
Fucking Uncle.
I'm out.
Why? What do you want it to do? Stay in there? Get it all out of there.
Well, of course. I've got to get all out of there,
Yeah, you gotta make sure that there's none in the underpants. His mother's gonna have to do laundry. Clean it good.
You are a creep, Uncle Paul.
I try to go with the Uncle Paul bit, and there's always.
All right, so there's a taste of Jimmy's Uncle Paul character. So now
I think it's funny. It definitely is creepy.
It's a very funny bit. Here's Opie's take on it, and Opie also. We watched that video where Opie couldn't understand why people didn't think he was the funny one on Opie and Anthony. Let's do a sense of humor check on Greg Opie Hughes.
The old saying, as long as you're not hurting yourself or others, then do whatever the hell you want. Did you just out Jimmy? I didn't out Jimmy. Bobby, can you go? I don't want people like you. So you're either going to be cool or not. Who cares?
You know what? Opie's kind of like Corey in that way.
A little bit.
As long as he's not being Uncle Paul. Well, that would fall into the hurting others category, sir.
Oh, fuck you. He does a child molester character, and now Mr. Shock Jock draws the line. Mr. Stomp on people's cakes. Mr. Take gifts that they give him and chuck them. Mr. Give E-Rock's phone number out on the air. You draw a line at a guy being a fictional child molester character? Fuck you, Opie, you sanctimonious douche.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Ugh.
Not at all.
And it hurt me because I just simply hated that character. I didn't think it was that great. Most of his comedian friends didn't think it was that great, but they, for whatever reason, they didn't have the balls to call him out.
Oh, right. That's why everybody in the studio would laugh their fucking balls off every time Jimmy did it.
Have you noticed that in all of his videos he comes out with now that he's shitting on one of the old cast members of that show and the thing that they did that made him funny? Like for Anthony, it's, his racism ruined the show. For
racism
Jimmy
was very
now,
funny.
it's, the child molester shit, not good for the show. It's always not good for the show when it's not something he did.
Right. And all Opie did was sit there and play Candy Crush and go, let's go to the phones and talk to Bill the trucker and just disrupt the flow of the show. Oh, man. You're right. Opie will criticize everything everyone else did to try and make that show go while contributing fucking nothing.
Yep.
So when everyone else was like, this Uncle Paul character is really creepy, it's not helping build an audience. It hurt the show. It was.
Oh, but you guys were on Sirius XM in 2014. Nothing was going to help build the show anymore. You guys were supposed to go to the internet and do a podcast. You guys were never going to grow the Opie and Anthony show anymore. You were on a dead medium. Satellite radio is not growing ever again.
If anything, it's shrinking.
It's shrinking. You guys were contracting. So what Jimmy was doing a segment that the audience that already existed would love.
It's funny a few times, but sometimes it was way too much. I mean, that's what I thought.
It hurt the show.
But man, if you had an opinion on that and you told Jimmy that, oh God, he would hold a grudge for a year.
Like you don't?
Says the guy who's still talking about this shit 8 years after it was over.
It has to be miserable getting out of bed for this now every morning.
Anthony gets up every day, does a show on his network. Jimmy gets up, does a morning show every day on Sirius XM. Opie sits in his apartment and talks to 40 people on Facebook Live or YouTube and bitches about the guys who are still going out trying to do something. And they're the ones who hold grudges, Ope? Oh, dude, you are fucking delusional. I'm sorry, man. And when it's me and everybody else who watches your behavior and all of those people say the same exact thing, I'm sorry, Ope. You can convince yourself in that mentally ill brain of yours all you want, but it ain't us, pal. We're just watching what you're throwing out there. And the decision seems to be unanimous over the years. You got fucking problems, and you're the only person who sees things the way you do. Jimmy, Anthony, they still talk to everybody from the show.
Yep, and they keep up with new things on their show. They don't sit and wallow.
And they still hang out with all the old comedians and guests from the show. They all get along. You're the only one who's the odd man out. Why is that?
Fucking year. His grudges lasted a long time.
Yeah, probably because his co-host was no-selling his fucking impression character that he was doing, trying to make the show funny, and he probably got really pissed off at that.
Opie's just sitting here thinking who the fuck he is just because his name was in the title of that show back in the day, the Opie and Anthony show.
And all
he's like, well, I was clearly, just as good as he was, if not better.
All he did for that show was run the board and find the other two really funny guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. E-Rock is the producer now for Anthony's network. They obviously still get along just fine. Sam is doing a show with Jimmy.
Yeah, when you're the odd man out, there's always plenty of reasons, my friend.
Opie had two choices over the last 8 years. He could either become self-aware and realize what happened, or he could just create his own reality where everyone else is wrong and he really knows what happened, and he's chosen the latter.
Yeah, he doesn't have the personality, I think, to own up to anything.
No.
The whole Uncle Paul thing, I hated from the jump. I played along, I tried to, and I'm like, this is fucking creepy.
But no offense, Opie, you seem to be the one who understood that show the least by the time the show was over. You seem to understand what people liked about the Opie and Anthony show way less than Jimmy and Anthony did. So I don't know if I'd trust your judgment. I mean, how many times did those two have gold going on that program and you would take a call or you'd change the subject because little boy didn't think he was getting enough of the attention?
I also think he's sitting here thinking he's going to score some points too when he goes on his show now saying, I wasn't comfortable with the racism or the child molester stuff. I think he's trying to score points, like social points.
Ironically, it's kind of the Stuttering John thing. You take a hard left turn politically because he shits on Trump now and Alex Jones and all this stuff.
I feel like he's kind of doing the same thing.
I think he just wants to shit on everything Anthony's into because, again, jaded ex-girlfriend here just can't get over it.
Right.
And then accuses everyone else of not being able to get over it.
It's making our show just more in the gutter than it needs to be.
You were the Opie and Anthony show. What did you think you were? Good Morning America? Who were you, Meredith Vieira, you dipshit? You were the Opie and Anthony show. You were a trash show for trash human beings. You were an even lower brow Howard Stern. That's what we kind of liked about you.
Yeah, how did he ever get to be half of that show if he's not comfortable with any of it?
Because he discovered really funny people, but when he got insecure, he stopped letting them be as funny as they could be.
Okay.
And when his wife or when his family, in my opinion, when his wife or when his family would chastise him about the things he talked about when he came home, he tried to put, the old pull the brakes on it whenever it happened. Like how many times, like when we first started dating, would you say like you talked about this or you talked about that? I go, if you fucking try to tell me, like you're not going to tell me what I can and can't talk about. I'm going to do what I'm going to do to make an entertaining show. If you're going to be with me, I remember having this conversation with you. I said, if you're going to be with me, you got to know that. You can't be here and not be comfortable with me talking about whatever I want to. I got to be free to do my show.
That's not at all where I thought this was going.
But what I'm saying is Opie was that like first 2 weeks he would hear from people who, why do you let him say that? Or, what does that mean? Do you endorse that kind of thing? And instead of him just sitting them down like an adult and go, look, I got to do a show. It's art. I'm making comedy for my fans. Instead, he went, okay, schnookums, I'll talk to them about their race. I won't let him do his racism. I won't let him do his Uncle Paul humor. He's just a fucking pushover, in my opinion.
I just simply didn't like the character. Bosses didn't like the character.
Oh, yeah, and if there's anything we remember from the old Opie and Anthony show, it's that those bosses, you always told us, they totally know what they're talking about. Opie, you bitched about the bosses and talked about how often you were going to quit and leave and do something else on a damn near, not exaggerating, daily basis by the time it was over. So don't sit here and go, the management sucks, the management's awful, I want to leave. Oh, by the way, management didn't think Uncle Paul was funny. Well, which one is it? Are they fucking dipshits and don't get it? Or are you going to use them as evidence in your little court case you're doing over this 8-year grudge you have?
It's whichever's convenient.
Yeah. The 8-year grudge you have, by the way, against a fictional character.
Right. That character is not a thing. I hope you know.
Hey, Opie, Uncle Paul Hargis is not a real guy. Just letting you know, bud.
But Jimmy insisted, man. Jimmy insisted. Fucking insisted. Whatever. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God.
So he's going, whatever, like, I'm done with it. Thank God it's over, says the guy who's made 7 videos in the last week about these guys.
He's almost getting sad for me to watch.
I was heavily invested in their show, and it's a big part of what my show became, so I revel in this shit. So remember, he just went, thank God, but there's still a minute and 50 some odd seconds left in this clip. So he said, thank God it's over. I didn't like that character. I'm done talking about it. Now, one thing we know about Opie is when he says he's done.
Oh, he's done.
He's done.
I think Jim Norton did a lot of good for the Opie and Anthony show, especially
like carry your ass,
especially the first half, and then not so much in the later years.
What a fucking cunt.
It's done, buddy. Can you just let it go and stop shitting on everyone?
What a cunt to say that in the second half, Jimmy didn't do so much to help the show. Opie, you mean in the second half of the show's run where you started talking less and less and doing less and less and prepping less and less? Jim Norton was the one who kind of faded from the... Oh, boy, you're delusional. While he was bringing in Bill Burr, Patrice, Louis C.K., Bobby Kelly, Colin Quinn, all these other comics, and you were sitting there and playing Candy Crush. Yeah, Jimmy, he really petered out. Take a sip of coffee, you
Not
dick.
so much. The whole show was falling apart. We all had our problems that we were bringing into that studio every day.
You had your problems. I listened to Opie and Anthony until the end. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Funny as shit until Anthony got fired.
Right.
A really funny show.
And Jimmy, he just decided that he had to interject his character chip into everything, and he thought it was hilarious to stop the flow. And some days it was hilarious to stop the flow. But then it was like, holy shit, he's going to do this every single fucking time.
Yeah, I think that's a very funny character.
Right, because people liked it. Hey, Opie, you know what the difference between... There's 2 differences between you and Chip Chipperson. 1, Chip Chipperson's not real. But number 2, he's still got a show, and you don't.
And he was funny.
Yeah, well, yeah. And number 3, he's funny. So, Opie, take your foot off the gas there. I don't think this is as strong of a point as you think it is.
And I think that really did get in the way of the success of the show, if you want to know the truth.
What did you want to do, Ope? Did you want to talk about which frontman for Van Halen was better? Fuck you. You never brought anything interesting to the program in the end. You didn't care. You were cashing a paycheck while Jimmy was still trying, still doing new things. And Anthony, look, yeah, Anthony had his wheelhouse that he kind of liked to stay in, but he still remembered to keep it funny most of the time.
Yep. And he's still going.
Yeah.
When he first started doing some of those characters, and he would pepper them in, yeah, it was kind of cool. And it worked.
It rejuvenated your show.
But then he insisted that he would force that character into every single thing we were doing.
People thought it was
another reason I just started tapping out more and more, man.
Well, at least you were tapping out.
But wait a minute. He says he's tapping out, but he says these other people didn't do much for the show. Meanwhile, you were tapping out. So while you're admitting now that they carried you on their shoulders, but they didn't do much for the show. Opie, you're so out of your depth, man. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're just babbling. You're bitter. You miss the good old days. You miss the paycheck. I mean, look at that view. That can't be a cheap view to have.
Not at all.
That's sucking down the old income, Opester.
That's a spendy one.
I was just like, what is happening to our little show? What is happening? This guy's babbling. He's got multiple characters coming out of his head.
Yeah, fuck that guy
for fun.
Yeah, fuck that guy for creating characters and trying to create new dimensions for the show.
I'm really starting to have a hard time watching him because every video kind of just turns into the bitter ex-girlfriend look.
He's very much that bitter
ex. It's really
ex.
sad.
We got time for probably one more of these. Let's check in with our people in the chat here a little bit. People writing, leave it alone. Howard Stern and Opie should have a show in the future. Oh, Howard would be driven nuts. People are saying that guy's a crackhead. I don't think Opie's a crackhead.
He sure looks like one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the opposite of an attractive man. He keeps himself looking disheveled.
Ron says Cumia and Norton made Opie millions. Opie showed them how to push buttons. Not incorrect. Ron Rubicon says Cumia plus Gavin are hilarious. Funniest show since O&A plus Norton. You know what? I have a Compound Media subscription now. Maybe I'll go. They did a show together today. Maybe while I'm putting the show up on Patreon and cutting clips and whatnot, I'll check it out. Let's go to. We can either go Howard Stern is the last man standing or Anthony trashing Opie on Pal Talk during the show. I'll let you decide. There was a clip where Opie says the other two guys he worked with on the show brought his looks down. He said he's a 7, really? But those guys brought him down.
Yikes. Maybe a quirky 7. I don't know, man.
You want Anthony Well, should we let the Opie and Anthony fans decide this one?
Yes.
We're not going to do Brendan JC because we've only got 5 minutes left, and I want to give Brendan plenty of time. So we'll probably do him tomorrow morning. We'll probably do the Brendan stuff, which is fine. It ages well. Howard Stern or Anthony You know what? Let's stick with the jealous ex-girlfriend stuff.
Yep.
And listen to him trash Anthony here. He keeps going with these little edits and stuff.
It's really gay. I hate that intro.
It's not the visual that's hurting you. It's the content.
Behind Anthony to go to the bathroom during breaks. He was very nervous.
All right.
Why did you guys let Pal Talk become such a big part of your show? Were they a sponsor?
Now, to let you know what Pal Talk was, back in like the early to mid 2000s, like the first decade of the 2000s, they found this thing called Pal Talk, which was like a prehistoric chat for their show.
Okay.
They would have cameras on. People could see the inside of the studio. They could chat. They could talk about what's going on the show. It was really innovative. You could say that Opie and Anthony were the first ones to have a live chat for their show, and it was a big part of their success. You know, like chats are now. You can interact with your audience if you're nice to them, if you're cool. It's a great thing to have for your show. If you have meltdowns, you look like a fucking dickhead. Well, Anthony really loved Pal Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Opie didn't like Pal Talk. Do you want to know why?
He doesn't like anything.
You want to know why Opie didn't like Pal Talk?
Well, yeah.
Because Pal Talk didn't like Opie. That's where you would read all these guys are carrying him. Oh, does Opie even do anything? So he didn't like looking at it. Anthony, on the other hand, loved Pal Talk because most of what was on Pal Talk was, holy shit, Anthony, that was really funny. Holy shit, that was really good.
Very complimentary.
No, man, I never had anything to do with Pal Talk. I was never on Pal Talk. That was Anthony's thing that he focused a lot of time and attention on while we were doing our radio show. But I literally never posted on Pal Talk. I didn't have a Pal Talk screen in front of me. I'll tell you this much. When I would have to walk behind Anthony to go to the bathroom during breaks, he was very nervous. This is all true. People get so mad because of how honest I've been lately.
Okay, wait a minute.
He's being honest and people are mad.
That's a tell, is it not?
Yeah.
That's a tell that you're probably bullshitting.
Yes.
If you're telling the truth, you don't have to go, this is true. That's why anytime you hear a comedian or somebody telling a story and they go, this is a true story.
They usually do that with a wink, by the way.
Yeah. You're usually full of shit. Like Opie, it's amazing that when he's telling these true stories, they always make Opie look like way more of a superhero than he actually is. That's ironic. That's odd.
But he would get really nervous that I was able to read the Pal Talk screen because it came out years later. People that used to be a big part of the Pal Talk room, they said, oh, yeah, Anthony was fucking trashing you on Pal Talk while you guys were doing the radio show. So
that's kind of funny.
That's very funny, especially if you're not contributing.
Anthony's shitting on Opie while he's carrying the show. I mean, but Anthony defended you a lot of times on air when people would say you don't do anything. He would stick up for you. So look, he probably hated you for a long time. That seems to be a theme with people. And he tolerated you because the money was good. So he had to get that. He had to vent that out somehow.
Yep.
Sure.
And every break, I would have to walk behind him to go to the bathroom. And there was always some awkward, him sort of covering the screen or making believe he had something else to do with his computer. And at first, I'm like, what the hell is that all about? And I had my suspicions. I couldn't really prove anything at the time. But then it did come out years later from a few fans that reached out to me and said, oh, yeah, that was happening on a pretty regular basis. I'm like, oh, that's just great.
And by the way, like, it's gotten so bad with Opie and his bitching and whining about the past. Like I said, Anthony doesn't even bring it up anymore.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He was never, I don't think, the problem, even when he got fired for, racist tweets.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't feel bothered that he did that. He got to move on to his own thing.
Right. And, and Opie's just seemed to move on really quick as well. Yeah, Six String Man writes, Candy Crush, though, right? Yeah, Candy Crush is fine. Jeff says he's given a homeless man a sandwich for a hand job. I cannot confirm or deny that. I have no idea.
In my opinion, looks the part.
Okay. There you go. All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you very much for your generosity. Thank you very much for supporting this show once again. We really do appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow morning for at 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Time. We hope you join us for that. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. We got a new Chad Zumach clip out there from last night. Be sure to check that out before you go to bed tonight. April, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to the rest of you, talk to you soon.